Hey, good evening, everybody. Hey, how goes it? Welcome. Hi, how you doing? Um, let's see. Hello, all. Thank you for coming by the stream this evening. Sorry for the kind of last minute switcheroo on everyone there. I had originally planned on streaming some more Rustic Waters this evening, but I experienced just a little bit of PC issues today that I think I may have resolved, but it was really 10 minutes before the stream that I think I may have had it fixed. So I didn't want to jump in for sure and then have it crash on me. So there won't be a stream tomorrow morning like there normally is. I'm going to take a few hours tomorrow, try to play some of the more intensive games and stuff I've got to see if that causes any more crashes, but I think I've got it fixed. We will be back tomorrow night for Merged Worlds in either case. Regular streaming works fine. So yes, people liking the lighting. I'm working on it. I'm going to make a few tweaks to the new lighting as well. It's not showing up as much as I'd like. I can change colors on it. I've found something that should keep it so instead of all the little dot lights, it's going to be one like long neon bar. It's going to take some work putting that together, but I'm going to do that tomorrow as well. And yes, AMA means Ask Me Anything. So what we're doing on the stream today, I've been asked to do this for a while now and just trying to find a time to fit it in the schedule. I thought this would be a great time since I'm having some PC issues. I didn't want to just cancel completely tonight because I love you guys. So today if you got questions about anything, whether it be Merge World stuff, Minecraft stuff that I can answer from memory since I can't pull the game up, but things about me, my channel, my family, my history, stories and adventures, things of that. Plus, I'm going to tell some stories and such of things that I've gone through in my life. But if you have any questions at all, throw them at me in the chat. If you see I'm in the middle of telling a story, hang on to it for a minute. I will do my best not to miss any questions. But if I do, please don't hate me. Feel free to post it in there if somehow I haven't acknowledged yours, and I will do my best to get back to it as quickly as I can. But we all know that once Draven starts rambling, he can't stop. So we will definitely see. So let's see what we got here. But I'm doing well, thank you, Greek Sheep. Well, today's been okay, other than the PC issues. That's the only thing. If I can't figure it out tomorrow, then on Monday I'm going to have to take it to a repair shop and have somebody done. Everything in the computer is under warranty. I just don't know what it is that's causing the problem. I think I got it fixed. But if I can at least get someone to diagnose saying, yes, this is the problem, then I know which warranty. Yes, Fuchi, I did change backgrounds, rearrange the room this past week, and I'm still working on it. I got a lot of empty room on these shelves. I'm trying to find things to put on them to decorate, and I'm still working on lighting, so that's a little something we're throwing together here. Ask a question. What's the best combo on a sandwich? Ooh, I will hit you with that in just a second. As for Miss Evie, next weekend is the members only stream, so there will be Jackbox next Sunday. We may do a full community Jackbox on Saturday. It'll be a later one. It'll be around this time, 9:30 to midnight. But I thought it might be fun to do a Jackbox with everybody, and then Sunday's the members only stream. So for those of you who are members of the channel, look forward to having an evening where we just all get to hang out. That's a private stream that never gets posted. For some of you who are newer, you've not had a chance to come to one of those yet. It's usually Jackbox and stuff, but it's way more laid back, and we just get to kind of chat and ramble. So I'd love to have you there. We'll also use the voice chat in Discord as well for those who wish to have it. Question, do you have the Crow Funko Pop? I do have the Crow Funko Pop, and I've got a funny story about that as well. Is a hot dog a sandwich? No. I've talked about that, but I'm happy to get back into it. Hello, Moog. Yes, Evie. So hopefully we'll have two back-to-back Jackbox next week. This is all, of course, contingent on the fact that I can keep my computer up and running correctly. One way or another, if I got to kick myself, I'm going to get that going. So AMA means Ask Me Anything. A lot of times people do it on Reddit and stuff. Celebrity or someone, not that I'm a celebrity, but somebody says, hey, I'm going to do an AMA. What they're saying is, hey, come in here and ask me anything you like. I'm sitting at an airport and I got 4 hours to kill, or I'm sitting on set and I got nothing else to do. So I'm going to answer that. Ooh, I'm getting a lot of good questions. All right, let me hit the first questions I saw in there so I can start. The first question, what is the best combo on a sandwich? If you're setting aside a grilled cheese sandwich, which is the ultimate sandwich, But if you're looking for a combo on a sandwich, a classic Cuban sandwich is probably my favorite sandwich. Toasted bread, roast beef, delicious. A good Cuban sandwich. The best Cuban sandwich I've ever had is actually at Cheesecake Factory. Not only is it good, but they're consistent, and I like that. Like when I go to a restaurant and I can get something and I know what it's going to taste like. That's why I would choose McDonald's over most fast food restaurants. Even though there's things I like at other restaurants more, I know with McDonald's, I know exactly what I'm going to get every time. This is Jack Bob. Do I have the Crow Funko Pop? I do. In fact, on my wife's and I wedding cake, the Crow Funko Pop was what I used, and she used the Daenerys Targaryen one because she looked a lot like that. Very long blonde. She had long blonde hair at the time. Now her hair is red, dark red, but she had blonde hair when it first. So those were what we used on our wedding cake. But I do have that. It's actually up there in the corner. It's the one all the way to the right on the second level. And then I have a Punisher based on the show. Then I have 2 versions of John Wick. One with the dog, one without. And then I have a Neo. And then Evie got me the new Cyberpunk Keanu up there. There's Johnny Silverhand. There's another one of him where he's like kneeling down. I don't have that one yet. I'm gonna have to get that. Winter Soldier, Deadpool, Red from the Blacklist. That's a He-Man guy named Psykill. That I was, or Cyclone, something. My favorite He-Man toy when I was a kid. And then I got a bunch more way over there. But those who I've got on screen. Oh, and the ones in the back over there is Kuwabara from Yu Yu Hakusho, the only anime that I ever really got into. And then 3 of the Dungeons and Dragons actual Funkos. The only Dungeons and Dragons one I don't have is the Gwenwivar and Dritz box set and the Gelatinous Cube. And I really want the Gelatinous Cube, but I can't find one for under $80, and I'm not willing to pay that right now. If I'm going to pay that much, I'm going to get an expensive Keanu one. Let's see. What else did I miss here? Hot dog a sandwich? No, it is a hot dog. Very different. Wait, what's the next membership goal? That's something we're chatting about right now. Actually, I've talked about some of the members. We're going to chat about that in the members threads. I'm going to bring that up again tomorrow because we're looking for something fun to put in there. And members goals are usually something that is a perk I can add to memberships or something, since the members are the ones that are really putting the money towards that. I try to make it a goal for them. Things that are donation goals are things for the channel as a whole. Like the one right now is for my butt, which we hit, actually. We hit that goal last stream, and I'll be honest, I had not updated that yet. Give me just a second. I'm going to fix that while we're chatting here. And I'm not sure what we're going to do for the next one yet, but we'll do a to be determined right now. So once I get the YouTube funds for this month, I'll be ordering myself a new squishy butt chair, which would be very nice, because my butt gets hurting. 1 second here. I'm just picking a random number. This is not a specific anything at all. It's just a number to put in there until because I forgot, actually, honestly, to do this today, and I knew I was supposed to. So that's just, there we go. That just puts that in there in place, so that way, for those folks who do wish to donate, I can make sure it goes towards there. And Big Mac, you already threw $1.48 in there before the stream even started, and I appreciate that. I will make sure that gets added to the total as well. I think it was added to the last one, but we'd already hit it. Let's see what we got here. So donation goal, membership goal, something we're talking about. What is my Minecraft skin based on? That guy right there. Brandon Lee the Crow. So mine is a crow skin. There's a few different crow skins out there, but I really like the one that I use. So The Crow is my favorite movie of all time. And so I'm a big fan of that. And the main character's name is Eric Draven, which is where my username comes from as well. I've been using Draven ever since that movie came out as kind of my handle on everything. Where do you have the Johnny Cyberpunk Funk Settle? Right now he's in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to add some lights up here to light these. I haven't taken him out of the box yet. Trying to decide whether I want to take them out of the box. Historically, I've always done that. But now I'm thinking of not doing it only because they display better. A, they don't fall over as much. B, putting two stacks of them I think might look nice. So Johnny Silverhand is up in the top corner right now until I can get some better lighting and do some more rearranging. So I just brought all this stuff over here in the last week, and I'm still trying to figure out where I want everything. I still got an aquarium right here that as soon as I do my next cleaning, I'm moving it out of here as well. Because right now, when it's on, it's just very bright and glares in the camera, so I got to shut it off ahead of time. So I got that one. Where do you have the giant? Okay, talked about that. How did you get into Minecraft? Achievement Hunter, actually. I've been a Rooster Teeth fan since their second season of Red vs. Blue. I became, at the time, what was called just a sponsor. And I started doing that their second year, and I've been a sponsor / first member for 16 years now. So when Achievement Hunter first started popping up, I used to watch Awu, and when Jack and Jeff first started that, I watched some of the guides, even though I didn't really play a lot of the games. I just like their banter, especially when they're doing things like trials and fails of the week. I found those really, really funny. And then they started doing a couple Let's Plays. They did the first Minecraft Let's Play, and I cracked up. And by the time they had done their 6th one, I wanted to play it very badly. So I actually got a whole new computer that could play it specifically for that game. That's how I got into Minecraft. Oh yes, you will be a celebrity in about 8 months. I would love that. I think I'm a long way from a celebrity. But I do appreciate you all making me feel like one on a regular basis. Am I going to do tutorials on other mods? Yes, I am. I have in the past, usually just several different ones. I only did one RL craft mod, and it was the very first thing, how to get a flint pickaxe to get wood. Because getting wood at the beginning of the game, there's nothing that really shows you how to do it. And that one has surged up to being one of my top 5 viewed videos. I get comments left on that every week. It's like 16,000 views on that, and it's only been out a year or less compared to some of the older ones. So I've also done some volcano block ones. And a lot of the Sky Factory tutorials that I do work across multiple mod packs. So if I'm talking about how a cyclic machine works or how mechanism machine works, a lot of those blocks and components can be found in many different packs. So I get that comment left a lot. Hey, I'm playing this game in this mod pack, and this really helped me there as well. So to be honest, I should be, instead of saying Sky Factory, I should be saying what the actual just block is. But since I focus it a lot, especially on my automation, on what's available within the Sky Factory, that's why I keep naming them that. But I'm going to be doing some rustic water ones. So definitely I want to figure out how the rat stuff work, so I can do some on that, because it seems very cool. I didn't get to play much of it today because I had PC problems, but I'm enjoying rustic waters quite a bit, and I see the potential for several different tutorials for that. And I'm always going to be trying to put out Sky Factory 4 tutorials as long as I can come up with stuff. At least until they come up with a Sky Factory 5, and then my life will shift right on over there, and that is all you'll see me play for a while. Let's see. But is it glow in the dark? If you're talking about my Funkos, none of my Funkos glow in the dark. No. There's a glow in the dark version of any of these. I haven't seen them. Draven chatting stream. Yes, Turtle. I promised I would get to do one. So, do a donation go for a gelatinous cube? Well, I mean, that's cool. I would feel a little... The chair thing helps me sit here and stream longer. I feel that helps turn around a little bit back into the channel. Gelatinous cube, I'd feel bad just having you guys give me money to buy something that I want on my shelf. I'd feel bad about that. So I always try to put the money back into the channel or something. So with the chair... I mean, I'm not in my screen here. The chair is literally just going to let me be able to stream longer, which is, of course, always the goal. What do we got here? To get the PewDiePie chair. Not familiar with that. Comfortable and not that expensive, I'll consider it. What display shelves do you use? Are we talking about the ones behind me? These display shelves? If you're talking about these are the $39.99 or $29.99 Walmart special. I have in my house 16 of these brown shelves across my room, my wife's room, the living room, my mother-in-law's room. They're super easy to put together. I've been buying them for years. I've got 3 more off camera that hold a lot of my personal books and toys and figures that I've collected over the years. The white one I bought because they only had a white one left, and I think it shows up better on stream, to be honest with you. So I'm going to get 2 new ones. I'm not going to lie, while I was moving this white one over, I broke it. It is barely standing up right now. I'm going to get 2 new ones, and I think I'm going to get white ones because I think they just show up a little better. I think they'll be easier to light. The dark ones are just a little gloomy. So I got those at Walmart. They're not too expensive, and they're very easy to put together. Let's see. I always thought your name is Draven. Oh, my real name is not Draven. No, not yet. Interesting fact. Some of you may know that I'm Canadian, and that I've lived in the United States for many years, most of my life. And I have two middle initials. My middle names are Daniel and Stephen. So my name is Kirk Daniel Stephen Brown. And everything that I sign, every document, everything, I'm Kirk D.S. Brown. Kind of like Michael J. Fox. When I was real young, I thought that was cool because I liked Michael J. Fox. So I started using my middle initials for everything that I do. So everything I have has both the initials on it. Makes it easier for people to find me online as well if they're looking for me in real life. But even when I've had to initial something on a legal document, it's KDSB. I'm not a huge fan of my middle names. I don't use them specifically. My goal is to become an American citizen within the next couple of years. I've always wanted to do that. My sister did it 2 years ago. Got to go see her do it. I was very proud of her. And when you do that, you can change your name at that moment to anything in the world you want it to be. There's no cost because you're becoming an American citizen under whatever name you want. And so I'm probably going to change the Daniel to Draven. So my name would be Kirk Draven Stephen Brown, and then I can legally go by Draven anytime I want. So, not my real name yet, but I'm working on it. Let's see. Is the stream delay just really high? Shouldn't be today. I think I have it on very low. There's just a lot of questions, so it's taking me a minute to catch up with everybody. But no, I don't think that there's a stream delay. Should be pretty small. Let me check. 1. About an 8-second delay today, so that's on YouTube's side because I'm checking and I have it on the smallest delay possible. So that's got to be on YouTube. Sorry about that. We'll do my best to try to keep up. Are you going to watch the new SpongeBob movie? It has John Wick. Yes, I will watch SpongeBob movie. Number one, because I like SpongeBob, even though I don't really watch it much anymore. But I used to watch it all the time. I worked third shift for a lot of years, so when I came home from work in the morning, there wasn't much on other than cartoons. So I watched a lot of Very Odd Parents, I think it was, and I watched a lot of SpongeBob, and then I would watch, there's certain shows I'd watch every day. I'd watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and after Buffy was The Practice, and then there was 2 hours of MASH, and then they cycled out The Practice to Boston Legal, and they cycled out MASH to The West Wing, which became my favorite television show. I have watched all 7 seasons, 22 episodes per season of The West Wing, no less than 10 times. Love that show. Made Bradley Whitford one of my favorite actors. Amazing in that. Let's see. Send me a mod pack to play because, like, every time I'm playing Skyfall, a creeper blows me. Compact chest is what has everything I own. So I end up getting mad and deleting my world. So if you're looking for a mod pack, I mean, finding a mod pack that doesn't have that threat, there are a lot of pacified mod packs. There's one where there's no mods that'll attack you. It's just about building and exploring and discovering. Looking up the keyword pacify or pacifism may help you find a couple packs. I actually saw a couple of them today while I was scrolling through new packs for the test drive. And I saw a couple that were described as a pacifist, run, play that. And again, if you really just want to have the fun of playing, you can always do a world in creative and just not use the creative side of it. That's an option. Can do that. I've done that before in regular vanilla when I just wanted to build. I still wanted to earn it, So there's different ways you can play like that. But pacifism or pacified mod pack would probably be something you'd be looking. I can't play Rustic Waters, sadly, because I have a phobia of the ocean. I can get that, yeah. I know people who don't play Minecraft because they're afraid of spiders. Spider chewing on you in the dark, that's somebody's fear. I could totally get that. Greek Sheep, just looked up the Crow glow-in-the-dark Funko, and it goes for about $300. Yeah, some of the collector ones are pretty pricey, I would say, yeah. Like I wanted to get, many years ago, I wanted to get the Bob and Doug, Silent Bob and Jay Funkos, the original ones, but they're like $300 a pop. And then the Bill and Ted Funkos, I wanted those, and they're some of them just get up there in price, and that's okay. I'm not going to get them probably, but that's okay. There's enough coming out nowadays that there's always cool ones that I want them. Was playing Sky Factory, computer can't quite handle it, so what computer would you recommend? Ooh, Lego, I'm going to be honest with you, that is a weak spot in my repertoire. I am not good on the PC technical side of it. I built my PC, but I was walked through that hand in hand by my friend Illustriel, who knows all about that. So I have a good computer because he told me what to buy and how to put it together. It's not something I would have had. You can get a lot of pre-bought rigs. There's nothing wrong with that. I played on one for years. Buying a pre-built, pre-put one together is perfectly fine. You don't have to build one, especially if you're just looking to play. I had to have something that was a bit beefier because I need to be able to play visually intensive games and then stream those out to people as well. But if you're not planning on streaming, then you would need half of what I've played the game. So I apologize. I really can't give a lot of specific technical advice because I would hate to tell you wrong. But I am sure that there are a lot of. I would just check out like Google top 10 PC builds for gaming, or throw the word budget in there. Love Google searches. I don't even use full sentences. I'll be like top 10 PC budget gaming, and it'll probably pull you up some good examples of, hey, you're on a budget. Here's some good rigs to play these type of games. Let's see. Well, I can confirm that the PewDiePie chair is comfortable. As far as the price goes, well, it might take a while to reach that. But I don't need that much of a chair, it sounds like. Have you done anything with the Create mod? I have not. Not familiar with the Create mod, so I don't believe that I have. Now, if the Create mod is literally creating a mod pack, no. If it's a mod pack called Create, I've just never heard of it. I'd be interested. I'm not familiar with it now. Not exactly a specific question for you, but is there any other way to pick up liquids other than the fluid pump on Sky Factory 4? Fluid extraction cable. Fluid extraction cable will pull water from the side of any fluid source box. So if you have like your regular 2x2 water source, your infinite water source, you take one of the blocks out and stick a fluid extraction cable there, it will pull a water out and then the thing automatically refills itself. So if you had an infinite of something else, it would do the same thing. If it's a pool that will not create infinite, because not everything will, as it drains, you need to keep moving the thing to get to the liquid more, which makes it a lot harder. So in that regard, I would recommend grabbing you something like a Supremium bucket, right? Or even an Insanium one that holds a ton. Get yourself a black hole tank and just run around and scoop up a ton of it and then slap it in there. That's, of course, again, if you're scooping up a fluid that won't refill itself. If it's a finite amount of stuff, a huge bucket, and then you just click on that tank and it should empty all of it out in one shot. Fast way to do that when I was getting things from the different dimensions that I needed. Let's see. Wait, maybe the Create mod could be in second server. Again, I'm not sure what that is. Joker. So Joker said he knows about he or she, I apologize, knows about PCs. That's very possible. Again, it's not my strong point. And again, I know some, but I don't know enough. I know just enough to be dangerous. I don't know enough that I would feel confident directing others. What's your favorite theater experience? Ooh, there's a good one. I mean, personally, I think back to the first time I got to see The Crow. The first time I got to see The Crow in theater was one of the first times I went and got to see a movie by myself. My parents were overly protective, so I didn't have a lot of freedom as a young. But that movie came out when I was in high school in '93, and my sister and my parents wanted to see a movie, and I'm like, I really want to go see this Crow movie. And so we got to the theater, and they went and saw one movie, and I got to go see a movie by myself because they were playing at the same time. And it was the first experience that I had doing that. And the movie, of course, that's probably part of the reason why I love the movie so much, for ambiance-wise. It was just me sitting in a theater, getting to enjoy a movie without anybody around bugging me. And I think back fondly on that. The next one would be when I saw Groundhog Day, because that's probably the most I've ever laughed at a movie in a theater, and that's still one of my favorite movies that I can watch over and over. All right. Let's see. Premium next has a starter for 700. Oh, PC-wise. Gotcha. It's a mod called Create. Okay. a huge mod that I cannot explain, is $170. The chair or the mod they're talking about? That sometimes gets confusing. We start talking about 2 or 3 things at once. What got me into streaming? That's a good question. So the very first thing that got me into streaming was a friend of mine. Her name is Meow Meows. I've known her since she was like 15. I used to spend reason I got onto the internet is because some of my friends got on this website called GaiaOnline.com. And it became a big part of their life, so I wanted to participate. So I got a computer and started going on Gaia as well. Met a lot of people, ran a pretty good sized photography based guild for a couple of years. Met a lot of people through monthly photo contests that I met this young girl named Meow Mouse, and she's up in Canada. And we've been friends now for 15 years plus. You know, I still talk to her all the time. Sadly, I didn't get to go to her wedding, but still chat with her a lot. But she started streaming some Minecraft on a channel that she did, and I thought it was fun to watch. And then she also had a channel dedicated to her and her husband had bought like a big RV because they were both EMTs, worked ambulances. And they would travel around Canada, depending on the season, to work in areas where they needed. In the wintertime, a lot of times they were way up Yukon where it was very cold. So they started doing this fifth wheel kind of living, and they did videos on that. So I asked her about that. I'm like, hey, I'd like to do some of those Minecraft videos. Those seem fun. Played Minecraft all the time anyways. And so she kind of hooked me up with the original stuff that I needed to stream. And around that same time, Illustriel, who I mentioned, who's one of our mods on the Discord channel, he was also getting into streaming, he and his wife, and I was like, okay, well, cool. And I started jumping in with them on Twitch, and I was playing 7 Days to Die by myself, a little bit of Minecraft, but what we all played the most was Battlegrounds, which I'm horrible at. I'm not good on shooters, but it became a running gag how bad I was. But that's what got me started into streaming. All right. Are you a Star Wars fan? I like the original Star Wars. I did not like the prequels at all. They were atrocious. And I've not seen any of the newest stuff. I've not seen the Solo movie. I've not seen Rogue One. I've not seen the 3 other Star Wars. They just didn't interest me. You know, kind of from my youth, I was a big Star Trek guy. I mean, I was named after the show. It's kind of a rule. So I watched the new Star Trek movies, which I thought were much better than any of the older movies. And not to take away from them, but they were just very well done. At least the first 2. The third one, yeah. Third one I didn't like because they spent half their time off the ship. Space movie, I want you in space. Don't spend all your time on a planet after your ship blows up. That annoys me. So if I'm going to watch a space movie, give me some space. But no, I don't watch a lot of Star Wars. I like the characters. I enjoyed the games. I played Star Wars Battlefront 2 on PlayStation 2 a lot. Solo, but I played it a lot. It was a fun game. But I like a lot of the characters. Concept behind it. The Jedi stuff is phenomenal. I had a little custom-made Star Wars role-playing game that I DM'd for a little while. Kind of a homebrew thing for me and friend in high school, just because we wanted to have space Jedis, and so I kind of came up with my own version of a role-playing game that could do that. Let's see. Your stories for the mod's free. Oh, good. Okay, that always helps. Free is my favorite price to pay. Can you tell us a John story? Yes, I am going to tell some John stories. We're a little bit on that. I burn through a lot of the questions people have and such. But yeah, I'm going to tell some stories as we move on. I'm going to stream for another 2 hours probably, so we have got some time. Let's see. Gotta go, might come back. All right, Greek. Thanks for swinging by. How did you come up with the Merge World story? Ooh, there's a big question. Originally, I've been playing D&D for years, and what we played in D&D, I always DM'd things from the Dragonlance world, which was always my favorite. I've read all the Dark Sun novels, the Spelljammer novels, most of the Ravenloft novels, all the Greyhawk novels, all the Dragonlance novels, and a fair chunk of Forgotten Realms. And I read all the Birthright stuff as well. Birthright, I wish that had gone further. It had a lot of potential. But Dragonlance was always my big one. So Dragonlance is kind of what I always DM'd on. So when Merge Worlds actually started, it was almost a Dragonlance slash homebrew. When Merge Worlds very first started, I still used the Dragonlance gods and the Dragonlance magic system. But what really inspired me, story-wise, was a book series by Fred Saberhagen known as the Book of Swords. There were 3 of those, and then there was a series after that called the Book of Lost Swords. Still some of my favorite novels that I've ever read, and they're about a set of magical artifact swords made by the gods, who are egotistical, and then they basically throw them out to humanity to see what happens. But what they don't realize is they've created swords so powerful that they can kill the gods themselves. So it's almost like a race where everyone is trying to get the swords and the gods are trying to get them back. And it kind of, there's a small group of people who, good people who end up working their way through all that. Well, it all comes to a big head. And then the Book of Lost Swords is what happens after this big climactic thing and what happened to the weapons, so on and so forth. So I really like those artifact weapons, and a lot of times when you hear me talk about Merge Worlds and those artifacts that Nylat Firemoon was trying to get, originally they were swords based very much on those. They weren't the exact swords. I changed them some for D&D, but that's where I got the idea for it. It was a set of swords. It was after a while we started playing that I altered it a bit and said, okay, instead of swords, there's some rings, there's an axe, but there was still one of every type of sword. And they became... What's that? Moog! Oh, thank you, sir. Oh, well, there's our beverage of the day. Moog, my friend. You get to choose first one of the day. You're setting the pace. Am I doing Fireball today or am I doing Moonshine? As the first donator, you get to pick the drinks of the night. That's how I first came up with the Merge World idea, was these weapons that Rafe and Nylat were running around trying to find. And so that was kind of what inspired that. And then, just again, as always, I'm listening to music and I don't remember what it was, but a song made me think of the Omniana Chaos Order concept. And in that moment, I'm like, this is what everything is about. And that's when I decided to do the merge, because the first, if you ever listened to the first episode of Merge Worlds, it just takes place on a regular world, and that's where Rafe and Nylat were, and they ran around doing their adventures. The actual Merge Worlds concept hit me literally while I was sitting on the school bus listening to music in my Walkman. Again, I'm old, remember this. Moonshine, excellent. So I was just jamming to that, and it crossed my mind. The Omniana idea came to me. So that is where I went with that. Oh, I am opening up the new one. This is Margarita Moonshine. Flavor I've never had before. You know, each time I try to get a different flavor. So we have some different things to example. The last one we had was red, and it was potent. Very, very potent. So I'm a fan of margaritas, even though I like strawberry frozen margaritas the best. I like frou-frou drinks. Fruity boat drinks, or beach drinks as they're known, are my favorites. All right, Moonshine for Moog. Turtle had to go too. All right, Turtle. All right, so I'm going to pop this shot. Then I'm going to jump on Lego Masters question. But again, thank you so much for the donation, Moog. I appreciate it. With the PC problems, it'll be helpful. So again, thank you very much for your donation. And thank you all for coming and hanging out on this little AMA Merge Worlds D&D Learn About Draven story stream. It's fun. People have been asking for this for a while, so I was excited to have the opportunity to do it. So, Mr. Moog, sir. Oh, that's good. Oh, and now it's not. It's okay again. So it was good. Had a very sweet kind of lemony lime flavor. Then there was this, like, for just a brief second, like what skunk smells like. It went in my mouth, and then it went back to that flavor again. It was like way better than the last one, but it's potent. I can feel that it's potent as well. Nice. Yes, actually, a little bit more than that, because Moog's currency is actually a different Moogs from outside the United States. So right now, on my end, it converts it. We're at $13.70 plus. We had a donation of $1.48 from Big Mac before the stream even started, so it's not showing it on there. So again, we're right around $15 so far today. So we're actually, let's right now. So we're at 15. So for shot wise, we're $5 from another shot. But just to give us an idea of where we are. What was that? Randy! Randy Walworth. Well, thank you very much, Randy. I appreciate that. That's another shot. Woo, back to back, I see. Is it going to be one of those kind of story streams? Hello, Miss Ashley, a.k.a. Smashley. I did see you pop up there. I didn't want you to think I missed you. This one is not wanting to pour very well. I may have an air bubble in it. There we go. New margarita moonshine today. So, yeah. Real quick, I see, before it disappears off the page, Lego says, if you were stranded on an island, you only take 3 things, what would you take, not including electronics, because that's too easy? If I was to take Moog again, so that's 2 shots. Okay. Let me answer this question, then I'll jump on the shot. I'm not going to take survival things. Like, because who wouldn't say a lighter or book of matches or something, to, flint and steel, something to be able to survive for pure entertainment. If I could take 3 things to help me be cool, survive peace of mind wise, I would take, if you'll allow this, 3 books, if I can count them as one, and that is Mary Stewart's Merlin trilogy, Crystal Cave being the first one. Some of my favorite books ever written. They're phenomenal, and I can read them over and over again. It's not electronic, so hopefully those 3 books come in a pack. I have them in a pack, so I'm going to cheat and say that's one thing. The number 2 thing that I would take would be, and I know this is going to sound really idiotic, and I apologize, a picture of my cats. I just think that in a horrible time, stranded on an island, being able to see the kitties would give me a reason to want to get home. And my wife, too. That was a really bad way to say that. I'm sorry. I was thinking my family. So my mother-in-law, the cat, the whole thing. I saw a kitty. That's what made me think of it. But everybody, not just the cats and not the wife. Picture of my family. That's what I should have said. But I was looking at Buffy over there on the back of my couch, and that's what made me think of it. Third thing to take for peace of mind, a deck of cards. Because if I can sit and play solitaire every day for 30 years, I'm going to get real good. I'm going to learn card tricks. I'm going to learn to shuffle really cool. I'm going to teach myself magic tricks. When I get discovered, I'm going to be basically the guy who goes to Vegas and gets his own show. Because I'll already be famous. Come watch the Castaway and his amazing magic tricks. I'm saying it would be amazing, right? I'm assuming I live through all of this. I'd be much skinnier, too, so I'd be attractive. Shot number 2. Here we go. Phew. Tighten this up, see if I can get this to pour a bit better. There we go. It's going to be a slow pour day for some reason. Wash this out today. I'll have to check on it. Okay. Oh, goodness. Lego Master, hey, just want to say really appreciate you. Great job. Plus the 3 books count as one. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. If I had to pick another book series after that I could read over and over again, it would be the John Carter of Mars series by Edgar Rice Burroughs, who was also the creator of Tarzan. Tarzan being more popular, but the John Carter books, especially the first 3, are amazing. I've read all of them several times, but the first 3 I've read the most. Guess they may get Draven drunk and get him talking. Well, you can't get me not to talk. I'm a jabberjaw, but yes, if you want to get me drunk, by God, I'll do it. So that means we're halfway to another one again. We're sitting at 35. My goodness. Thank you all so much. I appreciate that. Acrylics, hello, Draven. Wishing you good evening. And to you as well, Acrylics. Welcome, welcome. Okay. So I think I've caught up with all the questions. If I missed a question in there somewhere, there's a lot of cool donations that bumped the chat up. You just let me know, and I will make adjustments. Make sure I cover that. I'm going to do that 3rd shot right now. Yes. Here we go. Phew. Ooh. Okay, so I got some stories of my own life and interest that I thought might be kind of cool to share tonight. Oh my goodness. Lego, take the shot. All right, number 4. Well, my goodness. We are 40 minutes in. And 4 shots, not 40 shots. 40 shots, I would be dead on camera. I will never do that much. If it ever got to the point that I felt health was a danger, I would save some for the next stream. Because, I want to stay alive to stream with you guys more. Alcohol poisoning stream. Don't worry. I have new chocolate hazelnut Oreos to help dilute my stomach. Hang on a second. Hopefully that wasn't too loud for you guys. I love hazelnut. In fact, I had Nutella on toast for breakfast, which I buttered first, of course. You always butter everything. We've talked about that. All right, so, got one more to pour, and I'm going to do it here in just a second. Miss Ashley, what is different about playing D&D in Merge Worlds compared to it in general? Class or race benefits and whatnot? Yes, very much of that. So a big difference between regular D&D and my version is, the big one is how I do spellcasters. Now, again, I'm still learning 5th edition. I haven't got to that point yet. So it may be closer to than what it used to be. But 2nd edition, 3rd, 3.5, all of those did magic users in a way that I didn't like. So the way that spells work for both wizards and clerics are a lot different for me. So that's one big thing. Racial class allowances are very different. Usually when you look up in a player's handbook, it's going to say, if you're this race, these are the classes you can be. I have a lot less limitations than they do, because part of the fun of Merge Worlds is that if an infinite amount of worlds are squished together, it's assumed that on at least one of these worlds, that race-class combo existed. That means there may be changes to it in order to make it playable. You may not have all the same perks you normally would get, and you may get some bonus perks based on your race, but it's something that's going to alter a little bit based on that. So when it comes to magic users, that's the biggest difference. It's a whole different world for them. Clerics especially, because I have my own pantheon of gods, the way spells and granted powers work. And granted powers are usually a spell or an ability given by the god that a cleric gets to use like once a day or twice a day. That's not really a spell. Those are all specifically designed to my pantheon of gods. So I have a book that lists all the different spell types, it's called spheres in clerics. So there's different spheres of magic. Healing is one, necromancy is one, conjuring, things like that. So different gods will give you access to different spheres. Healing god is not going to give you access to one that all it does is damage. You know what I mean? Same as someone who's evil and may not have access to healing. So when you're choosing a cleric, it's important to know, okay, this is the type of cleric I want to play, because your play style will be based on the type of god you worship. Because if you don't worship it correctly, the god will take away your powers because you're not fulfilling that type of oath. So anything that paladins are that way as well, because I don't hold the rule that you can only be a lawful good paladin. That's trash. Lawful good, lawful neutral, lawful evil. You're lawful, you can be a paladin. There's no reason an evil god can't have paladins, that they are their dark knights. So that's something that I do, at least different from the way it used to be. Again, new stuff's a little bit different. So that's a big one. Now, when it comes to warriors, the way I've always historically done... Oh my goodness, what is that? Lego! Thank you! That's a whole nother shot! Whew. Okay, all right, hold on a second. I got the 4th down because I'm going to have to do Legos. Here's the other one. Hold on. Oh my goodness. I'm going to pour Legos and give it a minute before I drink it. Thank you, Lego, for joining our phenomenal membership program. If you are not yet a member of the Discord channel, please go to onlydraven.com. There's a button at the top you can click on. That'll take you right on in there. If your name there is different than it is here, please let us know, myself or one of the moderators, and we will get you bumped up to member status there as well, so you can access all of the cool members perks you get. Thank you so much for that support. For all of you who've been donating, and the members, and those folks who just come and hang out and such, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I am, at present, discussing with my company the steps to go part-time. That may mean only that I work one less day a week. I'm not sure yet. But if that works and it's something that I can work out, then that would give me one more day a week that I could wholeheartedly dedicate to the channel. If that puts through, then the channel becomes part of my job, and then that kind of combining the two would become my career. It's the first step to making this full time, which is of course the goal. But it would give me, at that point, I would sit down and say, okay, I would write myself a daily schedule. On this day, I make these videos. On this day, I stream this. On these days, I do this live stream. It would definitely put me in the spot where I can start bringing more live and edited D&D content to the channel, because I've had a lot of people show interest in that. The extra time would definitely help. So it's not to say it's going to happen right away, but I am starting the beginning steps to find out if that's something that's doable. Hang on, kitty. You can't have alcohol. You're too young to drink. Okay. So yeah, when it comes to classes, that's a big difference. And this is the big one. And this is the one that hurts a lot of people. And I apologize if you really were wanting to do this and play D&D with me. I don't allow evil characters. Most people don't know how to play an evil character. Playing an evil character is way harder than playing a good character. And most people just aren't capable of doing it. They think evil character, I have to always be doing evil things. And that is the wrong way to think about evil. Because you have to understand that evil doesn't exist. Some people are not going to agree with me on the next thing that I'm about to throw out at you guys. But bear with me a moment, because I'm going to make a point. Evil itself does not exist. All that exists is point of view. When a person decides to do something, in their mind, they're not, I'm going to be evil today. Most people believe what they're doing is the right thing for what they want to do, no matter how dastardly it is. It's one of those things where people are like, I'm going to do this today. Taking care of this lets me take care of my family. Okay, you just killed 5 people and robbed a bank. But you were doing it from a point of, okay, I understand that the law doesn't like this, but I'm more of a Robin Hood character. People don't ever get up in the morning and be like, I'm evil, can't wait to be evil today. People who often play an evil character act evil for evil's sake. They think because evil's listed there, they have to always be hurting someone or screwing someone over. And that's not the case. You can be a noble evil character. You can literally be a person who never really does what we consider evil, but you don't ever really do good things either. So if you can create a character with a good backstory and a character that has motivations, it's like, this is the way I'm going to play this character. This is why they do it. And that would bring them into an evil classification in Dungeons & Dragons. I'm fine with that. 99% of people can't do that. All they think is, I'm going to murder and rob and pillage. And it's a childish thing. And it takes away from the story. And it makes it a lot harder for everyone else to have a good time. Because in every single time that I've DM'd an adventure that has people who are classically evil, they ruin it for everybody else. And then the party ends up killing them, and that person gets mad, and it's a whole thing. So I normally will not allow someone to play an evil character until they've played with me for a while, and I know that they know how to play that character. So I should say that I don't let people play evil characters often, and I have to know that you're someone who can do it. And there are classes like that as well. I don't let people play a Kender until I know they know what a Kender is. You're going to need to read a couple books about what a Kender is if you want to play a Kender. You just can't say, I'm going to play a Kender. Because again, anytime I've seen that, they've played them wrong. They just want the skills a Kender has. They don't want to play him as a character. So that's the kind of thing that I deal with there. So in the early days, if you're playing with me for the first time, some of the classes and races may be limited for your first play, because I want you to have the opportunity to learn the game without being buried in all these extra crazy stuff that is really just going to take away from your adventure. And as odd as that sounds, every group I've ever taught to play D&D, at the end of it comes back and says, I'm glad we did it that way. I'm glad my first character was a regular warrior or a mage or a cleric, and I wasn't playing this half-dragon, barbarian demigod. Because everybody wants that really cool, powerful character at first. Once you learn to play the game, very often you'll find that it's more fun and more challenging to play a regular type kind of character because you have to make more with less, and you'd be amazed what people can come up with. When they have those limitations, ways around them. And that really gets the mind moving, and I love to see that in a good player. I'm going to take this one, and then I'm all caught up on shots. This is Lego's membership shot. Again, thank you, Lego, very much for joining up today. It is greatly appreciated. Phew! My goodness, Pat. Somebody asked earlier how the kitties are doing. Buffy's eyes are a little bit better. Patches has a cold, and she's having an issue with one of her eyes. I'm having to put cream on a couple times a day. They took her to the vet yesterday. She's eating lots and running around and has lots of energy, but one eye is only opening up halfway, and she's a little uncomfortable with it. So we got some special cream that I put in there that helps her feel better. Yes, don't I, sweet? Okay. So again, race class, a lot of that's different. When we sit down to roll characters, which I'm thinking we may do here within the next week or two, with a couple of people. I've said this before. I'm going to be doing a home game before I do a live on stream game. Again, I'm new to 5th edition. I have only played 2nd edition for 30 years. But 5th edition is what everybody plays now. I've got all the books and rules books over there, got all the guides. I'm just learning it right now. So everybody who plays now knows 5th edition. So if I'm going to bring it to the channel, I want to play the most recent version. So I'm going to be playing a home game with several friends and my wife, who blew me away when she said she was interested in playing. Totally caught me off guard. I can't tell you how happy I was to hear that. So I'm going to be playing a home game with a few friends first to get a feel for it and make sure I know how things are working and how things are going before I start doing some live D&D stuff. I'm still working on getting the first episode of Behind the Dice out. I would like to think I'm going to get it out next weekend. It's not a script, but I have bullet points of the things I want to talk about. I just haven't got to film them this week because moving everything around like I did here on set took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So I'm going to do my very best to get that out this upcoming weekend, but that is something I am working on and you will see soon. Okay, what else? What is your most favorite thing about playing and DMing D&D? Ooh, good question. Best favorite thing about D&D? I like making people cry. And that sounds odd. Not cry as in I want to hurt your feelings, but cry just in general. If you're that excited and you're smiling and you're so happy you're crying because something cool happened, to have an emotional response. For those of you who have read Merge Worlds, you'll know that there was a point where Artemis and Draven had a parting of ways. And the young lady who played Artemis didn't talk to me for a few weeks after that. She cried that whole day, wouldn't play anymore, and I didn't hear from her for a couple of weeks. So I'm not trying to hurt feelings, but to write a story and have someone be that invested in their characters and the NPCs in the world that I've created is a wonderful feeling that people want to come back to that and are having that kind of emotional response. As a writer, it makes you feel like you've done something successful, like you've really written something that's going to last and affect people. And gives me another reason why I want to share that with all of you guys. That's probably my favorite thing, getting a strong emotional response, even if it's laughing. If I can make a hiya bonk joke, you know what I mean? If I can Moog slide out there and do something that catches everybody by surprise, everybody's like, yeah, Moog, or something like that, or just laughs because something funny happens. I know I've put together something ahead of time that they're going to remember. That's not just we're playing today. That's years down the road. They're going to remember that moment and share it. So that's what I like to see, an emotional response of any kind, even hatred, because sometimes bad things happen because it's good for the story. I'm that kind of guy. All right, what do we got here? Even though it's this, can you still play evil? Well, that's it. Evil is a classification by people. Evil is a classification by good people. Good people designate what evil is, and sometimes good people are not right. So is a evil classification of a character possible? Yes. It just will not be your first character in Merge. Again, not everyone knows how to play something like that. Not everyone knows how to play in general, and no matter how much you teach them, they're just not going to be good at it. But if people are genuinely wanting to play and wanting to be a part of the story, and it's not all about, hey, I want to have the most power and the most powerful weapons and be a power gamer, then I don't see any reason why they can't get to a point where they could play a more challenging class or alignment of character. My kitty, oh yeah, that's Patchy. She's sliding back and forth today. She's been, when I worked today until 9 p.m., I work a 10-hour shift. And my kitties aren't allowed downstairs in the basement while I'm working because I can't do my job and talk to customers when this cat's crying and climbing all over my keyboards. So on the days that I work, once I open the door, they don't like to go far from me because they haven't seen me all day. And let's be honest, they love me way more than they love me. She hates it when I say that. Okay. Just joined the Discord server. How do I join the Minecraft server? There are members only threads in Discord. Once we bump you up, if you go to the Minecraft server, there's a pinned message at the top that'll have the IP information. You'll use that to log into the server. Look forward to seeing you in there. James, how's the Let's Get Draven drunk stream going? I'll have you know, I've done 5 shots today, and I'm fine. I'm well on my way to sobering up already. As people know, alcohol goes through me pretty quickly. So I feel my tolerance is high today. I feel like I'm going to outdo the drinking, if you will. Ashley says, Jim is super excited with his 140 dice. Yes, Jim and Ashley are 2 of the people that are going to be playing in my home stream. Because they're friends of mine I've known for years. They live locally. So they and my wife are going to be, and potentially one other person that I'm reaching out to, and if she wants to play, then that will be my group. That'll be 4 players and a DM, which for me is the best size group of people. 5th player's always fine. But if we're only playing 2 or 3 players, I'll normally let them play 2 characters if they're experienced. But yes, we're gonna have a home game, and I'm excited to see all of Jim's dice. I just got another set of dice. These ones just came in the mail. These are a greenish marble. I didn't have a color of that set, and I came across them for like $3. So I picked those up. I have many, many, many dice. Let me see. This is my dice. This is a toolbox full of dice in here. I have everything in here you could think of. All the 4s, the 6, 8s, 10, 12s, 20s. I got some specialty dice. Let me show you my special dice, if you guys don't mind. Let me pull this open here. I've got special dice. Okay, so this is a 30-sided dice. I've only ever seen those once, but it's got 30 sides on it. This one is a 34-sided dice. Looks a little bit like an odd butt plug, but it's a 34-sided dice. It's like it works like an 8 or 10-sided, but much larger. Then, of course, this is a 100-sided dice. Most people have seen those at one point. It's basically like a golf ball. And then I have a body location dice. This is a dice that says things like head. Let me see if I can get the lighting here. Like left leg, right arm, stomach. So if someone's shooting an arrow, I can roll to see where they hit or where they got hit. If I want to randomize that, right? They're like, I'm shooting an arrow at this dude. I'm like, okay, you did a good roll. Let's see where you hit him. If he gets him in the arm, well, now that guy can't swing his sword. That can affect battle. So I really like having a body location dice. Hold on one more moment. Flip it over. Sorry for the noise there. What else? Now, these dice are very special. A friend of mine, in fact, the young lady who played Artemis and Darsh, her father made these for me. These are made out of metal. Oh, what was that? Moog. Hey, Moog, I will hit that in just a moment. These dice were made for me specifically. So they're blocks of metal, and then he stamped different things on them. So one of them is a critical hit dice. One of them is a critical fumble. So the critical hit dice is double damage, triple damage, sever limb, KO, stun, and death. Critical fumble, you roll a 1. Break weapon, drop weapon, hit self, hit ally, fall, or knock yourself unconscious. You roll a 1 or a 20, you roll one of these. You hit ally, hit self, then we dig out the body location dice. So I have a lot of different dice and figures and such, and I'm always looking to add new ones to my collection. I love dice. You can never have too many dice. So there's a lot of cool dice out there. I got my wife a set of Elven design dice. If you Google Elven dice, they've got a lot of cool runes and stuff around the numbers. She picked those. I thought she'd like them when I showed them to her. Let's see. Where did I still have a shot. Let me start pouring that. Let me start pouring that shot. For Moog, who is trying to intoxicate me. I'm immune to you, Moog. I'm going to pour this one right to the rim, too. I'm getting cocky about it. As I set this down gently on my ODG mousepad that I use now. Very much like that. Here we go. Shot again. Story time. Woohoo! Whew. I will buy this one again. Other than the blue raspberry or the blueberry one I got, this margarita one is my favorite flavor-wise. Like, I could drink a cup of this. I would die. But I could drink a cup of this. Or, you know. Okay. What's the next step here? We got super excited with his dice. I'm excited to see his dice in person. They look cool in picture. You never really get a good taste of dice until you get in there. So you're talking before about how you enjoy entertaining people, like through bartending. How do you feel makes you enjoy entertaining so much? Wow, that's a good question, and I'm going to get deep with you guys for a moment. As Randy decides to get me even drunker. Randy, I'm not even going to hesitate, man. You guys are going to jump that in here? I'm going to try to drink him as quickly as you throw him at me today. If it gets me crunked up, then so be it. And I'm going to pour him to the top, too, by God. And make sure you guys get your money's worth. Thank you very much, everybody. The new member, it's awesome having you. Thank you for all the donations. Again, the amount of support you folks have been showing the channel over the past couple of months is ungodly. And that's one of the reasons why I'm able to start pursuing the option of being able to go part-time at my job and put more time in this. You guys are making this literally a goddamn dream come true. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. So I'll tell you what, here in February, I'm going to run a couple contests and I'm going to give away some ODG merch. I haven't done that in a while and I'm excited to do it. I'm waiting till Shadow gets us our new design. We have a brand new design that's going to come out on merch. And as soon as I get it, I'm going to give some shirts away for free. So there'll be, and anybody can be in, not just a member. Members sometimes get some bonus entries, but everybody can join up and participate in the contest. You do not have to be a member. You don't have to donate. Just being a member of the community, you definitely get to play in that. So I'm going to give away some free stuff because I haven't got to do it in a few months, and I'm excited about it. Okay. This is Randy's, and then I'm all caught up. I'm not falling behind today, by God. I had 7 shots already today. My God. Okay. What did I mean? Make you enjoy entertaining so much. Tears of a Clown. There is an old classic oldie song called Tears of a Clown. And if you ever listen to it, one of the lines is, people say I'm the life of the party because I tell a joke or two. But what they don't seem to understand is that deep inside I'm blue. Cheesy a little bit, but I dealt with depression when I was younger. Still occasionally struggle with it. I have medication and things that help me with that, but I'm not shy to talk about mental health struggle. Just because I'm a dude doesn't mean I'm too manly to talk about that shit. There's no reason to ever look down on someone for sharing their struggles, especially if they need help or they are trying to help others. But I have struggled at points in my life with mental health, and I did not know that when I was younger. And I learned that at an older age, entertaining people and making people laugh was my way of making sure people liked me. Now, I'm not like, I know the difference now, but when I was younger, that's what got me started in wanting to entertain people. And then at that point, once I came to that realization about myself, I was able to continue. It made me want to entertain people more, but now for a different reason. Because now I'm happier. And to see other people happy because something I was able to do brought happiness to their life. Maybe they're struggling. Maybe someone out there is having a bad day, a bad week, or a bad year. Maybe you're going through something personal that makes it a little bit hard on you to get through the day. If for a couple of hours I can get on stream, do some drinks, play some Minecraft, and make you laugh and forget about that, there is no greater contribution to humanity that I can give. Not everyone lives forever. Some people do. These are these people that you know that lived hundreds of years ago because we know who they are. They affected the world in that way. And most people don't get that point. I'm not trying to be that guy. But if 20 years from now, you can be like, hey, you know, through that rough moment, that rough patch of my life, boy, I'm sure glad I had someone who made me laugh for a few minutes. That is the greatest compliment a person can receive, in my opinion. So now entertaining people makes me happy because I know I'm making people happy. Sometimes maybe when they need it the most. And I've had people, both in my personal and professional life, who've reached out to me say, hey, I was really struggling there for a bit, and you don't know how much what you were doing got me through that. And that chokes me up a little bit because that is, the greatest thing someone could say. So if you struggle with any type of issue, there are people out there who want to help you and who love you. There are many different places you can go to get assistance and ask for help. People who can talk to in your family and the people that you love. Do not hesitate to ask. It does not make you less of a person. It does not make you weak. It doesn't make you unmanly to say that I need help. It actually shows you're a stronger person to get over all that shit that economy and that the world puts on you, not that the society puts on you, and says, you know what, I need that little bit of help to help me get through. Do it. You will feel a million times better. I can tell you from personal experience. That's a little bit deeper than what you probably thought you were going to get from that question, but that's kind of what initiated that. I wanted to make people smile so they would be my friend, and then once I learned that's why I was doing it, I wanted to make people smile so that they felt better as a person. And doing this allows me to fulfill that in a way that I never dreamed that I could. I'm saying that while there's a kitty butt right in my face. You know, I'm trying to be deep and motivational here while you're sticking your stinky kitty butt in my face. That is taking away from the deepness of this moment. My kitty is just not understanding how this works. Sweetie, I love you, but I'm trying to be philosophical. Sorry, I've had a little bit to drink. But I'm showing strong today. I am holding against the alcohol. My strength is strong. Let's see here. What have we got that I missed? What is a sword in the background? Oh, I'm glad that you asked. I have in my home 13 swords, 1 battle axe, about 22 knives and daggers. I had a Morning Star, but I gave that away to somebody who really liked it and didn't own any weapons. I have 2 sword canes, and then hidden weapons in my house, blades. I have 3. One of them is a wizard's head, and his hat, you pull on it and a blade comes out. Hangs on the wall as a decoration. You are, no matter where you are in my basement, you are within arm's reach of a blade at any given time. Don't own a gun, but man, do I like knives and swords, so I collect them. My goodness, what is that? Lego! Dude, that puts us at 70. That's another shot. Because we've been running 5 over every time. That's another shot, dude. I'm going to pour it for you right now, Lego. Woo, to the rim. Ooh, almost overflowed that one. But yes, I have a lot of swords. I'll grab the 2 here close by so you can see them. Don't look at my butt. Okay, look a little bit. Oops. The cord. So I'll show you 2 of the ones that I've got here. I got a lot, but I'll show you these 2 specifically. So this one's sharp. Not all of them are, but this one is sharp. Okay. So the handle on it, the hilt, if you will. I don't know how many people know about weapons. A lot of this, I collected knives because I loved Dungeons & Dragons. For a while there, I wanted to be a history teacher, specifically in the medieval era, just because of my love of D&D. But this one here is this. It's a wide blade. This would be a, depending on what era you're in, this could be considered a long sword or a broadsword. It does have a wide blade at the base. This is a long halberd type sword. So this blade has a very large protective case on it, right? And this hook here, because the sword is so long and heavy, it's meant to be wielded like this to help you pull it across. So this is a 2-handed version of a halberd, but shorter than a halberd. I've never actually quite found a classification for this one because it shares so many different parts of its design with other blades. But these are just 2 of the ones that I have. Again, don't look at my butt too much. Then you'll start throwing $1 bills my way. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's a couple of the swords. Over there, you'll see I have several dragon daggers on a shelf right there. Katana swords over there. Battle axe. The battle axe I actually got from my ex-wife. My old battle axe. More humor. So, yes. So that's just some of them. I have a lot of. I used to have a lot more. There was a point when I was living on my own, and I just left my ex. That I what's that? Lego again. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. We're 9 away from another one. Whew. All right, let me get this last Lego shot in here before I forget that I'm caught up. Lego. Here we go. Phew. My goodness. Really myself away. You definitely succeed in your pursuit. Already helped me through a minor rough patch. Oh, well, Panda, thank you very much. That's very flattering. And I'm glad that I was able to do that for you. Thank you. I thank you for sharing that. Let me see. Liga says, sorry to hear about that, but still, I mean, you're doing great. I think you could get past that if you had to. Great job. Yes, and again, I have. Like I said, I was younger. That's what got me started down that path. I am now doing it for much better reason. Paul! Paul's here, everybody. Say hi to Paul. Again, one of my oldest members and followers of the channel. Paul, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. The one over your left shoulder looks sick. Yes, they're both pretty cool. I got a short sword over there. I got a set of the 3 classic katanas. They're not all katanas. I mean, if you know anything about them, there's 3 different types of swords. And I can't pronounce the little one. But I have those over on a shelf over there. I got a lot of blades all over the place. Planning on buying like a $50 sword soon. Nothing wrong with that. Just don't try using it. You know, that's the thing. These swords are replicas. Okay, all but 2 of them. But most of these are replicas, and if I tried to literally use them, I probably could do some damage, but I'd break the sword. You know, these are not meant to be home defense things. The swords. Now, many of the knives I have are much, much sturdier. I think I may have mentioned in the past that for a period of time, I worked for a company called Smoky Mountain Knife Works in Sevierville, Tennessee. I was but a lowly janitor. I've been a janitor many times in my life. It's not lowly, even though people think it is. It's a hard-working job. I slept on the floor. But getting to work there, I got to see a lot of really good, sturdy knives because they sell the decorative stuff. They also sell like the hunting stuff and the real outdoorsman kind of thing. So I got to learn a difference between what is a replica for use and a replica for decoration. Most of these are for decoration. I chose them because they look cool, not because I could use them. But there are a few around here that if I had needed to pick one up and use it for a reason, they'd last me a while. Let's see. Aluminum, not aluminium. Aluminium. Yes, I agree. I'm from Canada, where they still say aluminum, but you are correct. Aluminium is the correct spelling of that. Drunk driven grabbing weapons sounds safe. Ah, all of you know it's dangerous for me to grab weapons, even when I'm sober. Oh, goodness. Paul, in last Sky Factory 4, you forgot to make an outdoor barbecue. An outdoor barbecue? You've intrigued me again, Paul. Very many. You'd be surprised how many of the ideas in my Sky Factory 4 world have come from Paul. Paul supplies me with a lot of really good concepts that I like to build. When I get back to Sky Factory 4, I think that an outdoor grilling area, because again, this may come as a shock to you guys, I'm fat. And I really like outdoor grilling food. Eating it more than the cooking of it. I could see that. I could see that very much so. I already have an idea for the blocks that I'd use. I like that, Paul. I like where your head's at, sir. Onlydraven fans. Oh my goodness. If I made an OnlyFans, people would pay to subscribe just to hide the pictures. Here's $10 so you don't have to look at this. How many drinks? We are at 8 shots so far today in an hour and 13 minutes. And I'm still in control of my faculties. Fine job. My strength is strong today. This is a very good alcohol. It's potent too, by God. Wow, we've already done like a quarter of this bottle. That's trying to kill me. Terry, hey Terry, how's it going? I would donate, but my mom is switching my card from current to green light, so now I got to wait a couple weeks for the card to come in. Maximus, I don't know what that means, but don't you worry about it, my friend. Again, if you are not able to donate, that is totally cool. I appreciate those of you who are. Please don't get me wrong. That, again, gets me one step closer to doing this full time. Whether you're joining a membership or you're donating, very much appreciated. But I totally understand not everybody's in a position to do that. Not everybody has the money. Hell, I don't have the money to subscribe to a lot of people right now. Just hanging out and hanging out on the stream, clicking like, subscribing to the channel, maybe sharing it to your friends or whatever, telling other people, word of mouth, getting someone you know to join up. Does your grandma like Minecraft? She might. Have you asked her? And that was Nikki Nothoff subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much, Nikki. I appreciate that. But, you know, word of mouth, getting people out there, just coming and hanging out, watching the videos, even if you don't get to see them on stream, watching them later, clicking like, leaving comments, subscribing, all of that stuff helps the channel grow. YouTube sees all of that. When you watch the video, you click like, oh, hey, Buffy, or you share it, how long you watched the video, all that kind of stuff. YouTube looks at that. They count that into their metrics. And the next step for me is 10,000 or 100,000. When I get 100,000 subscribers, you've at that point considered made it to the beginning tier of everything. Everything below that is a hobby. When you hit 100,000, that's when you get your first official plaque from YouTube, and that's when you get an actual case manager from YouTube who reaches out to you directly and helps you help your channel grow. And why? Because at 100,000, YouTube's like, oh shit, this person's making us some money. How can we help them help us? It's good business sense, and it's intelligent, and I understand that. So all of the things you guys do, watching, hanging out, chatting with me, they look at all of that stuff. If you're following me on social media, like my Twitter accounts, my Instagrams, you click like on those. If you repost them, if you share them, all of that stuff helps the channel grow, and I appreciate that. So if you're in a spot, man, I wish I could donate. There are thousands you can do to help the channel that doesn't require you to pay anything. I'm just flattered that you wish you could. Appreciate it. Let's see what we got next. Oh no, I'm just buying like decorations in my room. Oh, nice. Hope you get something cool. Panda says, so if all your wildest dreams came true, you blew up on YouTube, went full time, could make literally anything happen for your streams, community, merch, what would you like to do with it? Excellent. Excellent question. I would like to make Merge Worlds visual. Whether that means like an HBO style show or an animated cartoon series, which I think, again, Rooster Teeth, I love their animated stuff. I think they do a great job. Hey, Patchy. I think, oh, you see kitties crawling all over the screen here. Being able to bring Merge Worlds, whether it be to some form of book form or some type of visual media, whether it be like a graphic novel series or a cartoon like I talked about, or that would be one half of my big dream. The other half would be for Wizards of the Coast to reach out to me and be like, hey, we really like your Merge World stuff. We would like to make it an actual part of Dungeons & Dragons. That's how Eberron became part of Dungeons & Dragons. That was somebody's creation. I think they ran a contest to be the next big one, and that person won. And I apologize that I don't know that person's name, because what I've seen of Eberron has been pretty cool, though I've not messed with much of it. Being able to bring Merge Worlds in a form, I've even thought about doing a Kickstarter to try to come up with outside the rule D&D, like my own homebrew version of D&D for the books, to be able to play Merge Worlds, the handbooks, the monster manuals, things of that nature. I've had a lot of stuff along those lines that I would love to do. So if I could do anything, I'd love to bring Merge Worlds to more people in different formats. Because again, it's the one thing that I do that might outlast me physically. And I would love to be able to do something like that. Ooh, I know that was a little bit long-winded, but I've done 8 shots today. That's your fault. But again, don't worry. I'll be sobering up very soon. Okay. Yeet. Well, grilling in USA is barbecue here. Paul, I agree with you 100%. Growing up in Canada, a barbecue is not a food. Barbecue is the thing that you cook on. A grill is a flat metal thing that you cook on that is heated that you'll find at a lot of gas stations and restaurants. So technically, America's completely wrong. If you are cooking on a flame-broiled item, whether using gas or coal, that is barbecuing. Grilling, literally, you are grilling something. It requires a flat surface. That's why in a fry pan, you're making a grilled cheese. You are grilling it on a flat piece of metal. When I moved to the United States, especially down here to the South, where barbecue is a type of food, it took me a while to figure out what they were talking about, and I still had a hard time wrapping myself around that. My mind, not my body. My body won't wrap around anything. But my mind had a hard time wrapping around the concept of barbecue not being an item that you cook meat on, and sometimes baked beans in tinfoil. So I agree with you 100%, Paul. Paul, I can see many tunnel in your underwater Minecraft playthrough until you get more underwater breathing. I agree. I see there'll be a lot more stuff there. I've even thought about maybe doing some railway stuff. I just don't know if there's anything big enough that I'd want to get to. But I have in the past made underwater tunnels of railway that went hundreds of blocks because it's very easy to do. You build a glass tunnel, then you fill it with sand. You build a glass tunnel, you fill it with sand. The sand takes away the water source blocks. Then you just put the railway down, and each time you just go farther. It's very easy to make very long underwater tunnels. How do I get my island? This command isn't working. Lego, yes. I apologize if I'm running behind there. I want to say we've talked about that before. Any of my mods on here, I think we've addressed that. And I need to change that sign. I apologize. I think you want to change the word home to something or something to home. I forget. I'm a little bit bevved up right now. And to be honest, Lego, part of that's your fault. Not that I'm angry for you for it. I love you. Thank you for joining. Anybody who is on the server, do you remember the command to start your new island? And also, anyone who is on the server in the next day or so, if you know that command, would you mind breaking the sign at spawn that I put and putting the right one in? Because I have not fixed that. I've not been on the server in a few days. And again, still working on my computer. Not quite sure when I'm going to get on there. Let me see what we got here. Sorry, I didn't mean to type. You're fine, Lego. Man, throw it up there twice. It's good. Oh, Panda's going to help you. Excellent. Thank you, Panda. I appreciate that. Panda, very good person. Been very helpful to people, and I appreciate that. Hello, Muse Maze. Good day. Good day, good day. Okay. I think I've finally caught up to all the questions. This has been a lot of fun. It's an hour and a half of it so far. Woo! You guys are trying to kill me. I'm going to eat a cookie real quick because I haven't eaten anything in a bit. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've never tried a chocolate hazelnut Oreo, but I try to try every Oreo that comes out. I love that stuff. Their carrot cake Oreos are very good. Carrot cake. Love a carrot cake. One moment. I'm judging. I'm almost there. That's rude. I'm sorry. All right. Here's my review of the chocolate hazelnut Oreos. I like them. They're a lot closer to a dark chocolate Oreo, which is my favorite Oreo. They have a bit more smoothness on them that you would expect from hazelnut. I definitely can taste the hazelnut in there, and I think it makes the chocolate a bit softer, which I enjoy. Like many Oreos, I feel that the cookie part overpowers the cream a little bit more than I'd prefer. So this might be one flavor that would be very beneficial to having a double stuffed Oreo. By the way, Oreo, if you're out there and you'd like me to review your cookies, by God, I'll do it. You just tell me. But overall, highly recommend the chocolate hazelnut Oreo. Now that I'm into the after flavor of it, it's very sweet. Subtle but sweet. Highly recommend those Oreos. Those are delicious. Okay. Let's see what we got here now. A new kitten is on the Discord. Check out the... I will check that right after the stream, Muse. I don't keep the Discord up during stream, but I will check it out right afterwards, and I love kitties. Speaking of kitties, here's Buffy. Hey, Buffy. Buffy has her own emoji for the channel when you're a member. Her little butt becomes an emoji. She actually has two now that I think about it. Paul, I'm thinking I'm just going to get the old Sky Factor World we had rather than join the new one. I like my home I built there. Don't want to build it again. Oh, understandable. Well, if you do decide you want to jump in and play around with it, you let me know, man. I will get you anything you need. All right, Maximus. Maximus said he'll be right back. And Terry, there's the Buffy emojis. Buffy's my girl. Yes, isn't she? You gotta stop walking all over the things that are breakable, darling. Okay. Let's tell some stories now. I've answered a lot of questions. If you have more questions, throw them at me, especially the food questions. I'm a fat guy, so I enjoy the food questions. I like all the questions, but food questions, they hit me right here where it matters, in the belly. So I'm going to tell a couple stories here of things that you may or may not have heard. If I'm telling a story you've all heard, tell me, and I'll pick a different one. I'm going to start with some stories. So I'm going to try to keep these stories appropriate, if you will. Before I jump into them, I should say again, thank you all of you who've been hanging out tonight. If you're having a good time, please remember to click the like button. If you haven't already, please be sure to hit subscribe. Thank you very much. We also have a membership program. We've already got one new member today. We'd love to have more. Interested in becoming a member, click the join button anywhere on my channel. That doesn't sign you up. It just takes you in so you can see all the cool stuff you'll get by joining up. It's like a Twitch sub, except cheaper. It's only $2.99 a month. You get a whole mess of stuff, including access to our members-only Minecraft servers and members-only streams. If you would like to donate to help support the channel, that is always appreciated. You can do that via YouTube's Super Chat and Super Stickers, which you can do right in chat, or there's a link in the description that will allow you to donate via PayPal or credit card directly to the channel. So either one of those is perfectly fine. I appreciate it. If you would like to donate, you can, but don't feel that you have to. I'm just glad you're here. Okay, I hadn't done that up a little bit. Now, yes, the LEDs are up, but I'm going to change them a little bit. They're not quite like I hoped they'd be. I believe tomorrow I'm going to be able to spend some time into making them a little bit better before Merge Worlds. I'm going to try. So yes, so let's tell some stories, right? I'm going to tell, first of all today, I'm going to tell some China stories. Now, what I mean by that is, as some of you know, I actually was in China for several months working for a company that I used to work with. Many years ago, I worked for a company named Atlantic Research Corporation, or ARC. And what they made were airbag inflators. Those are the things that go in your car that make your airbag pop out when you have an accident or something. So we were having a plant that was being made, built in China, and I worked in the training / human resource department of my company. I was the third shift guy, and as such, I knew how to run every machine in the company, because for me to train other people, I had to know the basics of every machine. That's not to say there weren't people that couldn't run them better who did it every day, but I knew how to train someone enough on any machine. So I was sent over there to write the instructions for the machines, and then work with interpreters so that everybody else could learn how to make the machines. Get down, you little squeaky. Stop. So I spent some time in China. So I was going to tell some China stories. Now, I have slightly forgotten if I have told some of these China stories. And if I have, let me know. First of all, have I told the Mega Mac story? You think on that for a minute. Think about it. I'm going to come back to that. Also, I'm going to ask, have I told you any stories about the Terracotta Warriors? And then I'm going to ask you, have I ever told you the story of climbing the Great Wall? These are 3 stories that I like to tell quite a bit, that I think are fun. But I may have told the Mega Mac one. I'm not sure. Some of you may have never heard that, though. That's why I'm throwing it out there. So I know there's a couple seconds delay. I'll give you guys a minute. If I've told those stories before, tell me, and I'll think of different ones. But those are ones today that I was thinking are some of my favorite stories to tell from China. I know I've told the story of flying to China, but I never told you the story about flying out of China. I don't believe. So I'm going to tell that story. Oh, shoot. Huh. That was a kitty knocking over an empty bottle of moonshine into a glass fishbowl that I believe may have shattered. I will deal with that later. Don't worry. I know it was scary. Draven's here to protect you. I apologize for that. Whew. Starting to come down off the alcohol finally. Okay. Let's see. Mega Mac. Yes, I'm the Mega Mac and the Great Wall. Okay. I thought I might have told a couple of those. Let me tell you flying out of China. So, and again, if I tell this story, I apologize. Some of you may not have heard it. I would go to China for 4 weeks, and then I would come back for a week. Go for 4 weeks, and then I'd come back for a week. And I did that 3 or 4 trips because the green card that we had allowing us to work in China required us to leave the country for 48 hours every 28 days. And then we had to get a new green card to come back in. My company took care of all of it. They paid for it, and it gave me a chance to come home, check on my pets, because I had a friend staying at my apartment taking care of my cat Pandora that I had at the time, as well as, visit friends, catch up on bills, things and stuff that needed done. So my first trip over there, my mom had bought me as a surprise gift for my birthday, because I went right after my birthday, a set of really nice luggage, something I'd never had before nor needed. But she got me a nice set of black luggage. And so I was very excited. And I packed multiple articles of clothing because I knew that as a fat guy, there wouldn't be a lot of places for me to find clothes over there. So I needed to make sure I had plenty. I'd already been prepped a little bit, and I knew that they would do your laundry over there and all that kind of stuff. It was all charged to the room. I was an hourly employee and not a salary employee, so I did not have a company credit card, but one of the vice presidents, who had like $100,000 credit card, everything was going to go on his card, and they'd pay for it. So everything I needed like that would be just put on the card. Anything I could charge to the room, they wanted me to do that because we were partnered with the Xinhua branch of the Chinese government, which is the military branch, and they were reimbursing 90% of our travel costs to build this factory over there. A little bit insider love for you guys, things that don't know how that work. So I get over there with my big old black suitcase, which I kid you not is in my closet to this day and still has stickers hanging from it from my trip that are all written in Chinese because I think it's cool. I didn't want to rip those off. So I went over there and I took all of my stuff, my clothing and all these things. And I was there 28 days, and it was about time for me to go home. I had like a day or so before I left. And I was talking with one of the other guys working there, and I'm like, yeah, I got to pack all my stuff up. It sucks because I'm just going to bring it all back again in 2 weeks anyways. And he stops me. He's like, wait a minute, you don't have to take your stuff back. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you can leave it here if you've got a bag. If you're coming back, you can leave it with the concierge. They'll just put it in the back room until you come back. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, there's no charge for that. In fact, they like that because that means you're coming back. I'm like, okay. So I bought another suitcase and I put all my clothes in it and I checked it in at the concierge, said, I'll be back in 2 weeks. And they're like, fine, we already have your reservation. And I got to leave all my clothes there. So I filled up my suitcase with all souvenirs and things I was bringing home. Some things I found I couldn't wear there. So there's a couple articles of clothing. I was going to bring a few new ones back. But overall, I bought a whole new wardrobe to go over there anyways because I had to dress a little bit fancier because of my position and to make an impression over there. I had to wear like collared shirts and stuff. So I'm like, cool, I take all these home. So I'm home for a week or two, get to hang out with my friends, play a little D&D, eat some good American food, and then it's time to go back again. Well, I need to take this suitcase back with me, but I don't have any real clothes to put in other than another pair of jeans and some extra underwear. I was like, this is a very large suitcase, and I'm not going to put anything into it. So I need to take something with me. So I got to thinking, what could I take with me that I could use as a way to gain popularity and win over love, and also show an experience to the cool people I was working with that they may not normally get to get in their home country. So what I did is I took this full-size suitcase and I filled it to the rim with boxes of Little Debbie snack cakes. Now, I did this for a couple of reasons. One, come as a shock, I'm fat, and I like Little Debbie snack cakes. I do. But mostly I took it because there's nothing like that over there. There were certain things that we found, and one of the early ones we figured out there is that there's not a lot of sweet stuff. Sure, it's expensive. Sweet stuff over there, for what their prices were expensive. So you couldn't find a lot of sweet stuff. You could get Oreo cookies and Kit Kats and all that kind of stuff, but because they were made there locally, they had less sugar in them than normal. And to be honest, I like those Oreos a little bit more. They weren't quite as sweet. I enjoyed them. There was nothing quite like what we had here. And I apologize if I'm boring you guys with this story. I know nobody's posted in chat for a while, so hopefully this thing didn't end. Hang up on me. But hopefully you're just enjoying the story. So I show up there with all these Little Debbie snack cakes. And there's a lot of them. This is a big suitcase. And I've got all the classics: oatmeal cream cookies, fudge rounds, cosmic brownies, Star Crunch, all those things that you love, Swiss rolls. And I was very, very excited to be able to give to some of the people that worked over there these yummy treats they'd never had before. So I show up and I take some of these into work with me. Not a lot, because there's a ton of them. And some of them were going to be for me to snack on, because, again, wasn't a lot to snack on there. And so I take some in, and I'm giving them to some of the employees, people that I'm working with. So they don't understand me, but I have an interpreter, and there were certain people that I found were very helpful. And I'd walk up to this guy who's running a welding machine, and I'm chatting to him through the interpreter, and I'm like, "Hey, would you like a cosmic brownie? I brought it from America." Now they're like, "Yes, please." They are always looking for a way of seeing or getting to participate in some of the American stuff we were bringing over, because they just didn't get to see a lot of that stuff. So it was cool to get to share that with them. And in the same regard, they were always trying to introduce us to things from their culture that we normally wouldn't find. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But I was like giving them out to people who I was getting to work with. I'm like, "Hey, here, have an oatmeal cookie." Oh God, they love this. Nobody was unhappy with any of it. They loved it. Excuse me. Need to take a drink. Non-liquor. Feel the liquor fading out. I feel good. Okay. So I'm giving these things out over a couple of day period. Not a ton. Maybe 4 or 5 boxes, which sounds like a lot, but they're distributed. There's hundreds of employees there. I'm giving them to different people. I don't think I gave the same person more than 2, you know. There were some, again, I need to stress, this was long before I met my wife. So I did have a habit of sliding extra ones to the local girls who I thought were cute. But don't hold that against me. I was single. So the third day I show up there, and I've got a couple boxes of them in my drawer at my desk. And some of the other guys from America would go up like, "Hey man, can I have some of your snacks?" I'm like, "Yeah, jump in, grab it." Because I had a desk and a lot of guys didn't. The engineers and maintenance guys didn't really get their own desk. I needed a computer for what I was doing, so they gave me a little office. And so a lot of guys would bring their snacks and stuff and just leave them in my drawer and come grab them as they wanted them. So I'm like, yeah, grab whatever you need. So I'm sitting there, and it's like my third day back on my second trip. And I'm sitting there, and I look up, and who's walking over but one of the vice presidents. The guy whose business card, all my stuff is going on. He's walking towards me with a relatively serious look on his face. Now, I want to stress that at first, I thought he hated me. And he didn't. He hated my boss, because I worked for my boss. He assumed I was a dickbag. But I wasn't, and very soon he realized he liked me more than my boss and started inviting me to poker. That's another story. Don't let me forget to tell you the poker story. But the very first time I met this guy, and I'm bouncing from story to story, that's your fault because I've had something to drink, but I'll sum it back up. One of the first days I was over there, I'm sitting at a big round table. There's a bunch of people hanging out, all dudes who are vice presidents and maintenance guys and engineers. And there's a lady from IT I know named Terry. Everybody called her Mama Terry. Classic Southern Belle, older lady, had grandkids. Loved this woman to death. But she was an IT lady. Still one of the smartest people with computers I've ever met in my life. Loved Terry to death. And I'm sitting there. I'd known Terry more than I knew anybody else at that table. So I'd worked with her before back in America. And I'm sitting there, and we're chatting. They're chatting, and I'm just sitting there hanging out. And I've got my soda or whatever I'm drinking while they're all talking that night. It's our first night there. And Terry, funny person, laughing, and says, "Oh, if you guys haven't met Kirk, Kirk is hilarious. Oh, he's funny. Keeps me laughing all the time. He's such a funny person." And everybody's like, "Oh, hi, Kirk. How's it going?" And the vice president guy's across from me, straight across, just like you'd expect in a movie, straight dead across from me. And he just looks at me and goes, "Okay, make me laugh." And just stares at me. I know this guy's a bigwig. He's looking at me, make me laugh. And I'm like, all right. And I reach back into my head and I'm like, I got to think of something funny. I used to do stand-up comedy. I got a lot of material in there. What's going to work here? And I'm thinking about, this is all happening in like 10 seconds. Here's what they're talking about. This is what they laughed about. Okay, fine. I immediately pull out something crude. I don't even remember the joke at this point, but I told a little brief 1-minute joke story thing that was definitely inappropriate for a business setting. This is 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. Everybody's sitting there with beers and wine and just hanging out chatting. And I tell the story and everybody busts out laughing. And the vice president, he laughs a little bit and he goes, all right, I like you. And then that was it. Didn't talk to me again for like 3 weeks. He talked to him again. But now I've come back the second time and here he is walking towards me with a little bit of a serious look on his face. And immediately I'm like, okay, I didn't touch anybody inappropriately. I didn't say anything inappropriate unless my interpreter changed what I said, because I've been very careful about that. And I'm thinking, what did I do? I've given him all of my receipts. I haven't been adding things to the room that I wasn't supposed to. I'm thinking about all this. And he walks up to me and goes, Kirk, can I talk to you for a moment? And I'm like, yeah, what's up, man? What can I do for you? And he looks at me and goes, I need you to do me a favor. We've run into a bit of an issue. And I'm like, yeah, what can I help out with? He goes, man, you need to stop giving sugary treats to the Asians. And that's how he said it, the Asians. I'm not saying I approve of that. That's how he said it. I was confused. I'm like, what? He goes, you're giving snack cakes to the employees. They're not used to that kind of sugar. They're literally getting sugar highs, and they're running so fast that they're dropping stuff and breaking machines. They were not able to handle the amount of sugar that I was giving them in one sitting. For many of them, they said it's the sweetest thing and I'm not trying to take away from people. This is literally something they just don't have. And it was so sugary sweet that they were getting sugar high like you'd expect from a child. Here in America, you give them too much candy and too much chocolate. And they were getting fidgety and such, and they didn't know what was going on. And at first they thought they were getting sick or something. But it turns out they weren't sick. They were eating a Swiss roll or a cosmic brownie or a fudge round or two. I need you to stop giving them snack cakes. You are messing up production. Like, sorry. And then he laughs about it, because at that point I realize he thinks it's funny, but he's got to give me the official, please don't do it anymore. I'm like, all right, yeah, no, not a problem. That's fine. I won't give him any more. He's like, I appreciate that. While I'm here, can I get a Swiss roll? I'm like, yeah, man. I pulled out and gave him a Swiss roll. I'm like, here, take one for the road. He's like, I appreciate that. He walks off. Stop giving the employees chocolate. You are making them crazy. So at that point, that crushed a chunk of reason I brought him. So now I'm just a fat guy with 40 boxes of snack cakes in his hotel room. I know what you're thinking. Draven, that's probably heaven to you. You were right. But I still knew it was bad. So I'm like, I mentioned to a couple people I work with, I'm like, hey man, if you guys want some of these snack cakes, man, I can't eat them all. If you want to swing in and grab some later, I'm like, oh yeah, I might come grab some. That'd be great. Over the next few weeks, at night after work, I'd be sitting in my room watching a movie or something. I'd hear a knock on the door, and I'd be like, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. What's going on? I'd walk over, open up the door. There'd be some head engineer I hardly know or a vice president. Somebody like, hey, man, I heard you got some snack cakes. I'm like, yeah, man, come on in. And they walk in. And after the first couple, I had them all stacked up on a table like a pyramid with display. And I just sprinkled them across the boxes like you'd see at the store. And people would walk in and be like, oh man, you got so many. Because they also couldn't get snacks like that over there. I'm like, man, you take whatever you need. I became a popular person. Made a lot of friends with people over there because of my horrendous amount of snack cakes. And they learned that I was a man that could be trusted. I say trusted because on our first trip over there, as we landed, and for the record, I would like to say hello to Cosmic, and thank you for coming back, Maximus. I am watching. Hello, Avery. Which is in the middle of story mode here. Hang on. I'm starting to calm down. Okay, so they first trip over there, my supervisor comes with me. We land in China. As we are getting off the plane, walking down the ramp into the very first Chinese airport, because we flew to Beijing, spent the night there, and then we went to Xi'an, where the factory was. You couldn't fly directly to Xi'an. As we're coming down, he's like, okay, Kirk, my boss's name was Joe. Joe's like, hey, I have to stop real quick. Stops me on the gangplank. People are watching by. He goes, all right, there's something we haven't talked about yet. And he told me a lot of the rules and things to remember, etiquettes, things to do and not to do, which I appreciate. He goes, there's one thing I haven't mentioned yet, and I need to make something clear to you before we continue. I'm like, okay, yeah, what's going on? I'm thinking he's going to tell me something like, if I say the wrong thing, someone will execute me or something, right? Like, I got to watch out for that. And he says to me, he goes, okay, you have to understand that a lot of these guys that are here for several months at a time. Well, my green card was only 28 days. Some of these guys had 6-month green cards, which were way more expensive, and they were here for longer periods of time. Because some of these guys are here for a really long time. And I'm like, okay. I hadn't thought of the snack cake thing yet. I'm like, I don't know why you're okay. And he goes, so I'm just saying, what happens in China stays in China. At that moment, I immediately knew what he meant. And I'm like, number one, you don't have to worry about it. And then he said, I'm sorry, I'm jumping a step. He says to me, he goes, and I want you to know that should you have any adventures while you're in China, you can trust no one will say anything about it when you get home. And I looked at him. I'm like, well, I appreciate that, Joe. And I want you to know that I would never, ever go around gossiping about other people. But as for myself, I am single. Nobody has to go back and tell anything, because if I manage to score an Asian girl, I'm going to go home and I'm going to put a fucking billboard on the interstate. I will proudly say, this fat dude got a girlfriend in China. You go home, brag. I don't care. You can tell anybody you like. I'm single. I don't give a damn. But I'm like, I understand. It'll be cool. That's more stories for later. But yeah, we got there and we walked in and thank you, Cosmic. I'm still working on it. There's still more things that I'm going to do. I got to get rid of this aquarium is going to pull out here in the next couple weeks. I'm going to redo some of this lighting, and I've still got a bunch of empty shelves I need some more stuff for. Licorice says, hi, I just started playing Sky 54 and you've been such a big help. Thanks, and also, do you have any advice on connecting my sapling farm to my storage system? Yes. You want to put your saplings on a hopping bonsai on top of a filing cabinet, and then have a file for each thing that sapling drops. You want to connect that with the purple cable that is part of the simple storage mod. A little bit to drink, and I don't remember the exact name of it. You're then going to connect those purple cables with the gray cables from the same mod and run that directly to the controller of your simple storage. That will give you access to everything that's in those file folders in the filing cabinets. If you look on my channel, there will be a tutorial called Combining Simple Storage with Filing Cabinets. It's going to walk you through everything I just talked about, but in a bit better detail, and that will give you access to everything. And once you set that sapling up there, you never got to touch it again unless you're upgrading the mulch on it. It'll get all that stuff automatically, and you can get it all from your simple storage. It's pretty easy to put together, but I do have a walkthrough guide for that. So thank you for coming by and let me know that it's been helping you, though. I appreciate that. So the whole reason I've been telling this story was to get to this next part. You had to have a little background. You had to know what was going on, how China worked here. So after that second trip, I'm going back home for a couple of weeks. And originally I wasn't supposed to come back, but the president of Asian Operations, with his title, had asked me to come back one more time. And I was like, well, I really don't have anything to do. I'm done. And he's like, yeah, but I'd feel a little bit better you here while they're acclimating them. So if you just want to come back and sit and play video games, and I don't care. Just be here, have a meeting once a week, walk around, look, make sure people are doing things. I just would rather have you here in case there's a problem. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So as I'm leaving to go home, one of the maintenance guys, a guy I'd known for a while, a good friend of mine, comes up to me and says, hey, man, you can bring back any more of them snack cakes? I'm like, I've already been asked by people, specific requests. Yes, if there's something you'd like snack-wise, I'll bring it back. Because again, I'm leaving my clothes there. My suitcase is just purely full of souvenirs and gifts for friends and family. Or clothes I'm taking home that I realized I didn't need. Realized I didn't need a swimsuit. I was way too fat to be swimming there. So I was like, okay. I'm like, do you want some? He goes, no, I'm wondering if you could bring me something else back. And immediately I'm like, okay, you can ask for cigarettes, alcohol. Don't ask for drugs. I'm not getting any of that stuff. You know, crossing that over borders gets me in trouble. I'm not doing that. So I'm waiting for him to say what it is so I can say no. He goes, man, is there any chance you could bring me a DVD? Caught me by surprise. Yeah, sure. One of the best perks of being over there is that we had unlimited access to DVDs. there was a shop across the street and down the block that sold bootleg DVDs for $1 a piece, and a lot of those movies hadn't even come out in theaters yet. I was seeing movies that people over here hadn't even seen in theaters. I came home with stack. Now, understand, when you bought them, it had everything that would come in the movie except the plastic case. The sleeve and everything was all down inside of a little sleeve, so they were flat. But I had hundreds of these that I brought back and forth. Once in a while, you get one, put it in, and it's in Russian. You're like, okay, this one doesn't work. You throw that away. But 99% of them were great. So a lot of times, that's all we do is sit in our room and watch movies, because we only had 2 channels that were English. HBO, censored HBO, and then Fox, where we would watch Simpsons, and Animal Planet. So there were 3. I apologize. I didn't mean to lie to you. So I'd watch Simpsons and stuff, and on HBO I was watching shows like Carnival and Deadwood. But again, they're all censored over there, so I'm missing half of it. So DVDs became a great way to entertain yourself. You walk over there and you buy yourself 10 movies for $10. That's going to get me through a week of entertainment. You know, because I'm still hanging out in the lounge with people and going out to dinner with people I work with. At the end of the night, you go up to your room, you got a couple hours to kill before you go to bed, watch some movies. And most of us were working 6 and 7 days a week. At least for the first 2 trips, I was there 7 days a week, except for 1 day off they gave me specific for shopping because I asked. The 3rd trip, I only had to work 5 days and I had the weekends off, so I had a lot more free time. So the fact that this guy was asking me for a DVD shocked me. I was like, man, you can get almost anything you want here. Old movies, too. There are cases of these things. He's like, yeah, what I'm looking for is a little bit more of the adult persuasion. And I'm like, because you can't find that over. In fact, you know anything about the rating system, a single X, which would be something where someone is topless in it, is the most extreme adult style you can buy there. And I'm like, yeah, I can snag a couple of those and bring them back. It's fine. I don't care. Sure. What do I care? I'm a grown man. I don't care to go to an adult store. So I get home, pay my bills, visit my friends, play with my cat, you know, that kind of stuff. Swing by an adult store, grab a couple of DVDs. I don't care. I take them back with me. This is long before you could get it on the internet as easily as you can now. Oh, Maximus says, I'm going to hop off the stream and watch One Piece. See you next stream, which is tomorrow night. What time? Yes, Maximus. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. is the Merged Worlds stream. The 3rd episode of Merged Worlds is this week, and then next week is the members-only Jackbox night. So tomorrow at 8 p.m. is Merged Worlds, and I appreciate you coming and hanging out with us, and thank you for your donation today. It was very much appreciated. Thank you. So I get these, I go back, give them to Duder, it's fine. He brings them back a couple days later. No big deal. I throw them in my suitcase. Think nothing of it. 24 hours later, there's a knock on my door. Open the door. Here's somebody else from America. Goes, hey, I heard you had some DVDs that I could borrow. And I'm like, sure, why not? So over the next month, those things went to person after person after person. Again, some of these guys have been there a while. And they just kept going around and around. Well, finally came to the end of my trip. It was time for me to go home. I had forgotten about them. They'd been out in circulation for 2 weeks. Hadn't seen them. And sure enough, guy who originally asked for them shows up the day before I leave. Was, hey man, I know you're leaving tomorrow. Here's your movies back. I'm like, oh, thank you. I'd forgotten about them. Sure you don't want to keep them? He's like, no, actually, I'm coming back next week. This is my last trip. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll take them back. Throw them in my suitcase with everything else. Don't even think of it. Now, when you're going to China, flying there, in America, they check your bags before you go to make sure that there's nothing in there that you're trying to smuggle out of the country. Drugs and guns, things like that. They check that in America. When you get to China, they don't check it when you're coming in because it's already been checked. It's vice versa on the way home. When you're leaving, China checks because they have, of course, a very big issue with people trying to get out of the country with illegally attained antiquities, actual artifacts and things of value, because those things, unfortunately, are sold under tables and things. And so they check to make sure you're not walking out. I have no problem with this. I want to stress that this is my way home from my last trip. I had been gone at this point. My 3rd month trip, I was feeling burnout, which happened to a lot of the guys who were there for a long time. By the end of that 3rd By the end of the first month, most of the guys, because it was almost all guys, Mama Terry was the only lady that I worked with there that was from America. Everybody was dealing with depression by the end of the first month because there's a feeling of isolation that you just can't get away from. When you are in a city, Xi'an, of 11 million people, and you can't talk to any of them, just standing in a crowd and not understanding, you can't read any of the signs, and being away from everyone you know and love, it's very frustrating. I just realized I didn't light my dice up today. I apologize, my dice is not lit up. I will light that up next. And hello, Poseidon, good day. But there's a feeling of isolation that a lot of us didn't realize everybody was feeling until it was all said and done and we were talking about it after the fact. But I was just ready to get home. I'd been gone a long time. I wanted to get back into my house. I wanted to get back into my routine. I hadn't driven in almost 3 months at this point. I had just bought a new car like a month before I left. I barely got to drive the car. I got a brand new phone, didn't work in there, so it was just sitting on a shelf for months, paying a bill for it. I just wanted to get home and get back to my life. So as I'm at the airport and I'm waiting, there's a guy named Travis, I've mentioned before, who's supposed to show up, and he's the only other person that's going home that day. So I'm watching for him, It's getting close to the end. He's not showing up. Turns out he got a call halfway there and had to go back. The major machine had malfunctioned and he had to go back and fix it. They were going to change his flight to the next day, but they had no way of getting a hold of me. So I'm like, to the last minute, he's not coming. I've got to get on the plane. I've got to get out of here. I just want to get home. So I get in the line to get checked. So everybody's checking the luggage. I'm not thinking anything about this. Even a little bit. And then it's my turn. And the young ladies that were standing there checking bags looked like they were in their late teens, early 20s. Ladies dressed in very professional uniforms and such, going through people's bags. I'm like, cool. There you go. I just want to go home. Look through it. And they're looking through there and they're looking at stuff and seeing that my camera's in there, but that's not breaking a rule. And they see some last minute souvenirs. I didn't have as much that last time because I'd already brought it back once. And I was carrying an extra bag because that one that I'd had my clothes in, now I was trying to get home with everything. So I had way more stuff than I was used to bringing back. And then finally they reach in the bag and I see them pull out this DVD. I had forgotten it was in there. And this DVD was not subtle on its cover. Front and back, not subtle at all. And their eyes bug out of their heads for a minute. And she looks at it, and she looks at the other girl, and the girl looks at her, and they look at me, and I look like me. I had short hair at the time, but I look like me. And I'm like, hey. And they're like, 1 minute. They walk off, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a problem. And I'm waiting and they're not coming back. And I'm like, my flight leaves in 10 minutes. I've got to get on this plane. And finally they come back and they look at me and I can tell they're trying to seem professional. And one girl goes, you can't have this. I'm like, you keep it. You can keep the whole bag. I just want to go home. And like, no, they pushed their bag towards me, but they kept that and threw it. And like, I put it under the desk thing. But for a minute there, I almost missed my trip. And I always felt that I was that close to being pulled out of line by security because I had those. But for just a couple of minutes while I stood there, I was worried. You do not want to get pulled out in security in China. Ever. But luckily I got to go home. I lost those DVDs. Didn't really care. But I got to get home and it was all right. All right, what did I miss here? Look at it depends on the system. What I missed a question. What do we got here? Licorice. I'm just started playing Sky Factory and you've been such a big help. Thank you. And also, do you have any advice on? Oh, I already talked about that. Already did that. Yes, simple storage system is the best route to go, I would say. And I agree. Poseidon is correct. Depending on the system, I would recommend if you're not sure, start with simple storage. It's going to be way easier for your first run. Beans popped in, licorice popped in. Hello, everybody. I haven't dealt with much basic storage. ME is simple to say with the ME import bus. Yeah, I don't mess with ME. I prefer simple myself. And I'll be honest, for your first playthrough, if you've never played with either of them, start with the simple storage. It is literally more simple to put together and use. But then when you get an opportunity to bump up to ME, give it a shot, then you can decide which one you like most. I usually stay with simple. I like it better. But I always recommend trying both because everybody's different and you won't know which one you like until you try them both. But start with simple just because it's literally simpler to build. I'm going to have a bite of cookie. Okay. All right. Grape, I agree with you 100%. I love refined storage. Right. So automating adding things into the storage system, if it's your saplings, what we were talking about earlier. Set a hopping bonsai on top of a filing cabinet with a file for each item that the sapling produces. Connect it with the purple cord on the back that comes from Simple Storage. Just to search for @simple. It'll show you the purple one. And then there's a gray one that you'll run from the purple one to your Simple Storage. That gives you access to everything in there. If you want to move things that aren't your saplings, like from other productions, you want to run those to a chest that's sitting 1 block away from your Simple Storage. You then want to connect that chest with the pink cable, the import cable. You want to make sure that the priority is set at a higher number than your other ones. So you want to set it to like 10. And then every item that goes into that will be pulled into your system as long as there is a filing cabinet, buddy, and an associated file with that item. If not, it'll just kind of sit there until you have something to pull it into, so you'll know which files need to be there. So yes, Simple, everything is filing cabinets with Simple. Again, I have multiple tutorials on Simple Storage because I use it the most. What's that? Lego! Oh, thank you very much. Lego, I appreciate that. Interesting stories, by the way. Server is fun. I'm glad that you are enjoying it. Whew, that's halfway to another shot. We are at $75. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Mr. Bud. Yeah, if you go to my channel and just do a search for like Sky Factory 4 and Simple Storage, you'll find a whole bunch of how to build it, how to connect it to your filing cabinets, how to import and export items into it to and from a smeltery, how to build it inside of a compact machine, how to automate it. I have a lot of things that mix with Simple Storage and automation. So I would start there. I have way more instructions on Simple Storage than I do AE Storage. Okay. How did I meet Mrs. Draven? That I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you that, but I'm going to answer this other question here. They want to know, does black hole units and filing cabinets work as storage for the Simple Storage? They do. You can connect a black hole unit the same way. The thing with a black hole unit is it can hold one thing. Yes, it'll hold a lot of it, but so does a file inside of a filing cabinet. I have never filled a file in a filing cabinet. So a filing cabinet, you can put 8 folders in it, which holds 8 things. A black hole unit can hold 1 thing. Granted, it can hold more, but it can only hold 1 thing. Oh, what is that? Lego, drunk driven. Rounding it up for me. All right, I'll get it. Where did I put my shot glass? There it is. So if you think about it, for space-wise, you'd have to have 8 black hole units, make up 8 blocks, or 1 filing cabinet. The filing cabinet is better in that regards because, again, it takes a couple seconds to make the file for it, but once you have, you never really got to touch it again. You've already got it connected. It holds hundreds of millions of items. Again, I've never filled one. And it'll hold 8 different things in 1 block space. So it's going to take up less space for inventory. So yes, a black hole unit will work, but I really would recommend still using a filing cabinet because you're just not going to need more than what a filing cabinet can hold, and it's going to take up way less space for you in the long. But if you've already got a black hole unit with a ton in it, sure, go ahead and hook it up. No sense moving that stuff to a filing cabinet. That would be silly. If you've already got a black hole unit, then hell yeah, just hook it up to your system with the same cables. It'll work just fine. Okay, I have the Mrs. Draven question. I'm going to answer that. Make sure I didn't miss anything out here. Hey Draven, can you do a tutorial on the design of a mob farm? I have one. I have 2, actually. Do a search for how to build a mob farm. Or I think actually I call it a spawner. How to do a mob spawner. It'll pull up a couple different designs for a mob farm using a drop method into spikes or mob mashers and using mob fans. That's actually one of the earlier ones I did. There's a couple different ones there. I would do a search for that. Shows some things, but not the design. Because the design itself is not important. That's something I have to stress. You just want them to be able to spawn in a dark space, and the space has to be no more than 5 to 6 blocks for the fans to blow them into the hole. Whether you have 2, 3, or 4 different branches coming off of that really doesn't matter. I do 3 because I like it flat and I can see the front. I've got another one in the back that I don't look at. You don't have to build it that same design. The design and the height doesn't matter. The higher it is just means they take a little bit more damage from fall damage when they hit the spikes, so they die a little bit quicker. But you really don't have to be more than just 2 or 3 blocks off the spikes. You could build it close to ground level. It's still going to work fine. They're just going to take a couple extra seconds to die because they're not taking the fall damage. So the overall shape of it doesn't matter, nor the height. You just want to make sure that the central tube falls onto the spikes and that the fans are close enough to the hole that they're blowing in. If you put it 6 or 7 spaces out, it's going to blow the monsters 1 to 2 blocks away from the hole. They're just going to stay there. So I recommend leaving 5 spaces and then the fan. You got your hole, 5, fan. That's going to blow them in. There are upgrades for the fans you can put in to increase them and stuff like that. But early on, there's no reason to mess with that. It's extra materials you don't need to spend. You could just build all this out of cobblestone and have it pretty quick. So yeah, the tutorial doesn't give specifics on the shape because that really doesn't matter so much. It's the overall idea of the concept of how it works. In fact, some people, their shapes are way better than mine. I've seen some really advanced ones. I'd love to see what you come up with. And this is Lego shot because kill me. Lego. My go. Phew. It's been a little while since I did that one. It's 9 today. We've got 25 minutes left before I have to call this a day. So I'm going to answer the question I was asked a little bit earlier and I haven't got to yet. So I end at midnight my time. So 24 more minutes from now will be the end of the stream today. You're fine, Lego. I caps lock all the time. How did I meet Lady Draven? I'll tell you. So I worked for ADT Security, an alarm company. I was a team leader there, and I worked the escalation line, just like I do at my current job. When you're pissed off and you want to yell at somebody, I'm the guy you yell at. But I also had worked there for many years, and there was a young lady working there named Amy. And Amy was quite a few years younger than me. We were friends. We became friends over the years that I was there. I think I may have asked her out at one point, but I was quite a bit older than her, and she didn't date people she worked with. That was fine. And we ended up just becoming friends for several years. And we'd chat and talk and stuff. Nothing funky, just chatting on the phone or texting all the time. When I went to third shift, she was on second for a while, and she ended up coming to thirds. But we would chat all the time, and she always complained about she didn't like the job, and I complained that I hated that I was single. One day we're sitting there chatting, and I'm complaining once again that, God, I'm sick of being single. I'm going to go to the movies this weekend. I got nobody to go with again because I don't have a damn girlfriend. I was complaining about it. And throughout that time, I dated people for a period, but nothing really long. And out of the blue, she goes, you should really meet my cousin. She's weird, too. Exactly how she said it. I thought that was. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, I have a cousin who's a bit older than me. She's closer to your age. And she likes a lot of the weird kind of stuff, like you like weird stuff. Amy didn't know much of the things I was into, but things like video games and gothic stuff, she wasn't into any of that. She's a very college frat kind of person. She goes, my cousin's weird. You should meet her. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, you should hook us up. And a few days later, she goes, I actually would like to do that. I thought she was kidding. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, tell you what. I don't want her number. Send her a link to my Facebook page. And I'll tell you why I do that. Again, I've said this a few times today, but many of you may not have realized it. I'm fat. And when you meet someone over the internet or someone over the phone, they haven't met you in person, they can't accurately, I can say what I look like all day long. You're not going to figure it. And if the person on the phone, I'm not trying to be egotistical, but talks a good game and is relatively suave, I can sit and say I'm fat, but in their mind, they're going to picture like Brad Pitt with 20 pounds. I am not Brad Pitt with 20 pounds. I am the guy who has 20 pounds and then ate Brad Pitt and then went to the buffet for his third trip, and then had some desserts because they had the brownies he really liked. So I was like, send her to my Facebook page. See pictures of me there. She'll know what I look like, and then if she's still interested in talking to me, she can shoot me a message on there, and we can chat over Messenger. But if she goes to my page and she sees the stuff that I'm into, what I look like, and she's not interested, she just doesn't have to message me. No harm, no foul, no confusion. Amy's like, I think that's a really good idea. That's a fair way of looking at things. Okay, I'll do that. I didn't think anything else about it. She did give her to her. It was about a week later before she saw her. And then my wife went to my Facebook page. And my wife, who before me had only ever dated a dude one time for a few months. My wife was, I always like to tease her, she was an old cat lady in training. Like, she just wasn't looking for a relationship. She was happy just being single. She wasn't looking for anything. So when Amy gave her my information, she thought that Amy was just trying to get her a friend. So she messaged me, and we started chatting a little bit, first on Facebook and then via text. And then we started talking on the phone a little bit, all over about a week and a half period. And then I asked her out because I saw her Facebook page. I thought she was cute, and I liked the stuff that she was into. And when I asked her out, it blew her mind. She was shocked. Had no idea that was going to happen. So I asked her out, and she said yes. So our very first date, by this point, I'm not an idiot. I'd done some recon in all this conversation. I knew that her favorite restaurant was Olive Garden. I knew the things that she liked and was into. Not that I'm trying to be crazy stalker, but you don't walk into asking someone out if you don't know anything about them. You're being foolish at that. Hang on. There's a question I missed here. Based on how the stream's going, do you think you will do more AMA streams? If you guys would like to see them, I'd love to. I love just getting hanging out with you guys. You guys enjoyed this stream and would like to see more stuff like this, whether you're watching it live or watching it later, throw it down in the comments or let me know in the Discord channel. I don't care to make a stream like this once a month or once every couple of months or whenever people would like to see it. I had a great time hanging out with you guys. So if you like hearing this stuff, I've got years worth of stories to tell you. But so I call it Plumsy Plump to make it less body shaming, because I don't like body shaming, including myself. Understandable, Ninja. Understandable. I'm a big dude. I've been accepting of that for a long time. I do a lot of jokes. I used to do stand-up comedy, but then I got fat. Now I do sit-down comedy because it's so much easier. That's a joke. But when you're a comedian, you can make fun of people or you can make fun of yourself. I make fun of myself because then I'm not picking on people in the crowd. So that's just kind of the way I did my comedy there. So first date with my wife, I took her to an Olive Garden here in Knoxville. Now that morning, I went and switched phone companies because I wanted an international plan because I'm Canadian and I wanted to be able to call friends in Canada. And the company I've been with for years, I'm with them 10 years. Every year they said, oh, we'll have a plan next year, and they never did. They didn't have iPhones yet. Again, this is a while ago. I'm like, screw this. I'm going somewhere where I can get where I want. So I went to the company that I'm still with now. And I was like, I walked in, I'm like, I've been with the same company for 10 years. I want an international plan. If you could put me in an iPhone and you could put me in an international plan for what I'm paying now, I will sign any length of contract you want. 2, 5, 10 years, I don't care. I'm not one who changes lightly. Give me what I'm looking for, what I pay now, and I'm good. And they're like, we're going to give you all that stuff. You've only got to sign a 2-year contract, and we're going to save you $40 a month. I'm like, I love you. And I've been with them for ever since. But I got my first iPhone that morning. So when I picked up Heather, who's now my wife at the time, our first date, took her to Olive Garden first, and we chatted a bit. She is a very shy person at nature. And she's on stream, she does visit. She doesn't talk very much. She's way better than she was. She used to have very bad anxiety attacks in groups, so she didn't go out to grocery stores or restaurants or malls very much because she was very shy and wasn't comfortable in crowds. So when we got there, I knew it was going to be hard to get her to talk. But she had an iPhone, and I had never used one. And so I thought, how does this work? How do you do that? And so for the first hour of us eating and chatting, she was showing me how to use my new phone. And that helped her feel comfortable because she's talking about something she knows about, and I'm legitimately interested. And we're talking about us and just in general and what we are, what we like and stuff in between that. Because she's learning that I would like an app that does this. How do I find that? Okay, cool. Because it was my first smartphone. I'm like, I would like to be able to do this with a phone. How would I do that? Oh, you like that? I like that too. Here's how you do it. Here's how I do it on my phone. And so we had a very good time at dinner. So when dinner ended, I asked her, I'm like, well, what would you like to do now? Would you like to go see a movie or something? What would you like to do for fun? Because I didn't want to say, this is what we're doing, I've decided. I wanted her to get to kind of pick that. And she goes, well, with a movie, I don't really get to talk to you much. Maybe we could just go to the mall and walk around or hang out or something. I'm like, that's an amazing idea. I would love that. So we went to the local shopping mall, big mall, a West Town Mall in Knoxville. And we're walking around. And as soon as she said that, in the back of my mind, a plot was hatched. Began right here, back on the right side. The left side didn't contribute much that night. But back here in this corner, an idea sprung to life. And a plot was designed. And so we started walking around. And I started moving us towards a specific section of the mall. And as we get to this section of the mall, we are coming up to a store called Build-A-Bear. Some of you may know what that is, and some of you may not. Build-A-Bear is a place where you go and you pick out one of a multitude of stuffed animals. They custom stuff it for you, and there's lots of clothing you can pick to put on them. At the time, I had two roommates, a guy named Jason and a girl named Katie. And Katie is the young lady who played Artemis and Darsh. And I knew that she, much like Heather, were really, really big Hello Kitty fans. And she had just gotten one at Build-A-Bear. And so I was like, bing! And we're walking by there, and I acted stupid. And I'm like, oh, hey, isn't that Hello Cat thing that you mentioned earlier? It's like, Hello Kitty. I'm like, oh, Hello Kitty. Gotcha. Okay, I knew it was a cat. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. You should pick you one of those up. She goes, oh, I can't get one of those. They're too expensive. I'm like, what, like $5, $6? She goes, no, they're way more expensive. I'm like, look at that. That can't be more than $6. She goes, no, really, I'll show you. And we walk in, and she shows me. I'm like, well, I see it's like 30, $40, whatever it was. I'm like, that's still not a lot. She goes, yeah, but then you got to get all the clothing and stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about clothing? I have no idea what you're talking about. She goes, well, you buy different clothing and things, and you put it on them. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense to me. What would you put on a cat like this? It's just a cat. Well, I'll show you. And she walks over and she pulls out the outfit. She gets the shoes and she'll get the shirt and the hat and all these things would go on it. I'm like, you have to dress the cat in these things? Doesn't come? She goes, no, they cost extra. And I'm like, okay. So I took them all up front and paid for them. And she was like, wait, what? I don't understand. And then the lady's like, okay, thank you. And then walks her over and has her pick a little plastic heart out to put in it and fills it up. And she's just there with this big grin because she did not realize that I was trying to find out what she would want. She thought she was just straight up explaining to me how the Hello Kitty at Build-A-Bear worked. And so I bought her that. And she choked up a little bit. I think that was my slam dunk for the night right there. That really, I think, won it over. And for the next several years, every time a new one came out, we'd get them. She has about 13 of them. And they sit all across the top of her bookshelves in her bedroom until they stop doing that license and they don't make Hello Kitties anymore. But I got her that, and then we went, after that, we decided we were going to go get some frozen yogurt at a little place that I thought was cool. And as we were driving over there, she was looking up directions on the phone, because I'd not been to this end of town where there was one, and I didn't realize that she gets car sick. So while she was pulling up the decorations, we finally got there, she was too nauseous to eat. So we just sat in the car and hang out and chatted for a while until she felt better. And then at that point, it was pretty late. We'd been out for several hours, and I took her home because I knew she had to work the next morning. I wasn't trying to keep her out late. So I took her out, took her home, and it was a very cool date. And at the end of it, I'm like, would you like to go out again? And it was funny because she goes, yes. Like, there was no hesitation. Yes. But she looked a little shy for having said it. And I thought that was really cool because I knew how shy she was. And when I asked her the first time, it took a little bit. I mean, really? You want to go out? I'm like, yes. I had to convince her. You want to go again? She goes, yes. So we made a date for the next weekend. We went out a few times over 2 or 3 weeks. And then I realized that she didn't know the process. And I'm like, so like, are you wanting to be my girlfriend now? Like, is this official? Can I say that? And we're talking about it over the phone. She goes, okay, yeah, okay. And she's like, sure. And then we hang up at the end of the call and we're like, okay, cool. And then she calls me back about 10 minutes later. She goes, I'm really sorry. I forgot to ask, am I supposed to put it on Facebook now? Because relatively new. Didn't she like? Am I supposed to put this on Facebook? Like she didn't. She's like, wait, is there a process to this? I'm like, you can if you'd like to. I will, and you're welcome to. If you'd rather not, you don't have to. So, oh, I want to make sure if I was supposed to, I was supposed. I'm like, you're. So she put it on Facebook, and that day, was October 26th of that year, and that was the day that we have considered our anniversary when we were official as of that day. And so that was our October 26th is our dating anniversary. And even though I've only got 10 minutes left, if you'd like, I'll tell you how I proposed as well, which was also October the 26th. But let me address something in the question in here first. More MAs, please. It's really cool. Agreed. Yes, for story time. Well, it seems people are enjoying the stream. So I think that yes, I'm totally cool doing another thing like this in the future. If you guys don't mind just me chatting. I know there's no game going on, but it's fun to just be able to share the stories and chat with everybody. And I appreciate everything everybody's been doing. I know you guys have been donating and none of it's been showing up in the donation goals because I adjusted it at the beginning of the stream, but I will make sure that all of the donations that came through today do show up on that after this, because I really appreciate all of you guys showing that type of support and helping the channel grow. Thank you very much. Somebody said, Poseidon said, had a Build-A-Bear from 5 to 7 years ago. Nice. Freaking awesome, Eugenia. You're a mastermind. Outstanding move. I'm not crying. You're crying. Hey, Bragg. Just imagine Onlydraven on the other side of the computer watching you retell this. I wouldn't be surprised. She watches these occasionally. She'll probably smack me later now. She's nowhere near as shy as she was. Remind me, and here in the next near future, I'll tell you the story of our very first trip to a horror movie convention, which was just a few months after we were started dating. I think we'd been dating 5 or 6 months at that point, and it was our first time going into a crowd like that. That was an adventure. Long story though. Couldn't tell that one today, but remember that. I'll tell you later. Yes, please. Yes, please. I love this. Let's do it again. Okay. Please, it's amazing. Tell us how you propose. I will do so. So, as many of you know, my wife had brain surgery several years ago. She had what's called a cavernous malformation. It's a little spot in her brain that when she was a baby in the womb, she was laying on her hand wrong and like a blood vessel popped. And over years, like a pearl, it built up and it started pressing against her brain, giving seizures. And surprisingly enough, after that first trip to the horror convention I was talking about, we came back, she had her first real seizure. And over a couple of years, we tried a lot of different things and medications and such. And it became apparent that we were going to have to try the seizure. Or the surgery. I mention this because when we first started dating, right out of the gate, wanted to let me know 2 things. 1, she never wanted to have children. Interested in having children, didn't intrigue her in the least. I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm fine. By that point, I thought I was going to be single forever and assumed I'd never have kids anyway, so no big deal. That's more money to spend on me. And now, you guys with this wonderful channel. But I'm like, okay. And then number 2, she said, I never want to get married. I don't like that type. I'm like, okay. Understand, I had an ex-wife. I'd been married 10 years earlier for a very short period of time. I was like, I've been there, done that. It's whatever. I'm fine with that. But over the next few years, we had dated and such, and she went through the brain surgery, and she came out of the surgery with a different mindset. And I'm not saying the surgery caused it. They had to cut her here, and they had to peel down part of her head and cut a hole in the side here and pull off part of her skull. And they cut out a piece of the frontal right lobe, put it back in, screwed it up, put the skin back on, sewed it up. One of the most frightening days I've ever had in my life, sitting in that hospital for 14 hours, every 30 minutes getting a call letting me know what was going on. Every time worrying that they were going to call with some bad news, because those surgeries come with high risk. But she came through it. It was a rough couple weeks of healing. She was out of it for a little while. But then when she came out of it, she came back with a different mindset that she now wanted to get married. And the way she explained it to me, it was she never really thought that she'd meet someone who A, wanted to get married, and B, who'd be willing to stay through all of that. Because I guess up until that point, even though we'd lived together for a couple of years and we'd been dating for a couple of years, I guess in the back of her head, she always thought that if things got bad, I'd leave. And I stayed through that. And so she's like, ooh, I guess not. And so she came out of there wanting to get married. I'm like, well, it's going to be a while. I mean, we just spent all this money on surgery and medical stuff. It'll probably be a year before I can even think about proposing. So we need to give it some time, and we'll talk about it in a year. She's like, that's fine. I'm in no hurry. It's all good. I'm like, that's good because I don't have the money. And she's like, that's good. That's awesome. Which worked out well for me because I'd already bought the damn ring. I had it sit at home in a drawer, and I've been looking for the right time to do it. So, real quick to answer Turtle's thing here. What are you going to do tomorrow morning? Tomorrow morning, unfortunately, there's not going to be a stream. I had PC problems today, which is why we're doing this, because I'm having some problems keeping a game up and going again. I think I might have it fixed, but that was just 5 or 10 minutes before the stream. So I haven't got a time to really test it. I don't want to start a stream and then have it crash 5 minutes in. So I'm going to cancel tomorrow morning stream so I can get in here and work on this for the rest of the day. Tomorrow night's Merge Worlds will be fine because I don't need a game for that. But that gives me all the way through Monday afternoon to make sure everything's up and running before I run a game. So unfortunately, there will not be a stream tomorrow morning. I really did want to have this tonight, though. I didn't want to cancel on you guys twice in a row. I'm sorry that tomorrow mornings won't be. So there's that. I just realized you got an entire mane of beard. Yes, I'm thinking it's almost time to trim it up. What do you guys think? It's getting a little shaggy here. I don't know. I may have to. So anyways, I already had the ring. But I'd convinced her she was going to have to wait a year. Instead, it was about a month and a half. And it was October 26th, and it was our anniversary. And so we were going to go out to dinner at Olive Garden. Same Olive Garden we ate at every year on our anniversary, because that was our little reminder of our first date. But my wife collected vinyl records. Still does a little bit. I finally broken her of the habit, because she kept buying them and never listening to them. I'm like, why are you spending money on these things? Buy stuff you're going to use. Not that I care you spending the money, but buy something you're actually going to get use out of. You buy them, put them in a record case, and never look at them again. But at the time, I said, hey, I heard that there's this vinyl record on this other side of town. How would you like to go there first? And if you find one you'd like, we'll buy you a vinyl record or two as an anniversary gift. She goes, that would be awesome. And legit, that's what I planned on doing. So we swing over there. And unfortunately, it had gone out of business. I didn't know that. I'd been told by a friend it was there. So we were both a little disappointed. But you see, I wanted to get to that section of town for another reason. Because just down from that, there was a very, very old cemetery. Why does that matter? My wife is an incredibly what you'd call gothic person. Lives for horror movies, only wears black, wears the gothic jewelry. She's got bats, like bat skulls and such in her room, and her room's all decorated gothic. That's just her genre. That's what she likes. And then mixed with all that is Hello Kitty. But, mostly she's a gothic person. So I heard about this cemetery. I'd known where it was, but I'd never been in there before. But it was a big, very old cemetery. So as we're driving by, I'm like, hey, I've never been in here. You want to swing in and take a look? She goes, ooh, that sounds cool, because she likes stuff like that. We've been to a couple other cemeteries in other areas just to look around. She goes, yeah, that sounds great. So we're driving in, and it's a huge place. We're driving around, and I'm looking for the right spot, because I hadn't been there yet. This is about 30, 40 minutes from home, so I didn't have time to recon it. But we're driving around, and we're pointing out different gravestones and mausoleums that look really old, because they were. And finally, I see what I'm looking for. So I pull over. I'm like, hey, you want to get out and take some pictures of some of the gravestones? Which there was no hesitation. Yes, please, let's do that. And we start walking towards the one that I saw. And it was a big grave, taller than me, and it was a big angel. And it had to be at least 150, 200 years old. It was super old. And we walk up to this, and on there it says, in loving memory of husband and wife, and it was a married couple. I cannot tell you how excited I was to see that married dead people. This is perfect. And we're looking at it, and of course they've been married a very long time. You can see the dates on there. And I've got my arm around her, and she's wants to take a picture of it, and I'm like, wow, these are people that really loved each other, and it looks like they stayed to each other through thick and thin and lasted all the way to the end. I had a whole little thing to the end of the day. She goes, yeah, that's really romantic. And I just with my arm around, I pulled the ring around. I'm like, what do you say we give that a shot? because that's what I said. What do you say we give that a shot? And as I pulled it around, I used one hand to pop it open, and I'm ring. And her hands go, and she, oh, what you expect? She freaked out, started crying, said yes, put the ring on, and she was just crying and had me take some pictures of it and such. And then we got back in the car, and she called her mom and her grandma and her aunt and started calling everybody while I was driving us to the Olive Garden, which is 20 minutes from there. But she had no idea it was coming. That was the important thing. And so it came as quite of a shock for her. Because she thought she was going to have to wait another year before I could find it. The money to get a ring. She didn't know I'd been saving up for a year. I already had one. We already have that. So let's see here. Turtle says it's okay if I miss one. Oh, I appreciate that. Trim it, don't fall. Oh no, I would never lose the beard completely. I'm thinking about just trimming it some on the sides because it's starting to go this way instead of down. Trimming it a little bit, but then keep this kind of down here. Let's see what else we got. Are you gonna do another one of these next Saturday? The one after that? I might, if you guys like it enough, I might do it like every other Saturday. I still want to play, games and such with you guys, and hopefully get the game up. And a lot of times I get to tell stories and things like this while we're playing. It lets me focus a little bit more on the stories when we do this. When you guys aren't trying to get me drunk. But yeah, I think 2 Saturdays from now, I think we could do another one of these. If you guys are up for it, I'll throw some mentions up in the Discord channel, and everybody's up for it. We'll do that. But I'm totally cool with that. Morgan says your Sky Factory tutorial vids are amazing. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I hope that they were helpful. And thank you for coming by and saying so. I appreciate it. Technically, they are still married. That is correct. They are. They are very much. Well done. And right on time. Yeah, we are right at 12. Jim says he's driving on his way home. Jim, I know it's going to break your heart, sir, but we're going to have to call this a day. We've been running 2.5 hours, and it's not that I don't want to chat with you guys more, but I've been chatting more so than normal today. And my throat's a little dry. Surprisingly enough, alcohol doesn't wet your throat that much. I'm going to drink 2 or 3 of these, but instead, you had me drink 1/3 of a bottle of moonshine tonight. 1/3, you people. My God. Oh, let me see here. Have you seen the Shuriken exploit in Sky Factory? Not yet. I'm not a big fan of the Shuriken. I know a lot of people like it. I prefer the Matter Overdrive plasma rifle as my ranged weapon. You get a big enough battery and the charging perk, and it'll last forever. But I know Shurikens are very popular. People like them. All right, Jim. Well, tomorrow's Merge World, so Jim. Hopefully you're going to be for that. This could be the big ending of Coromon, and I'm hoping you'll be there to hear some of that. Lego says I didn't help to get you drunk. Just saying. Till the oh, I know who I'm blaming. Don't you worry. All right, Bragg. Bye to you as well. All right, folks. If you want tomorrow, I can probably help a little bit. Oh, I appreciate that. For the tech issues, I appreciate. I'm hoping what I've done has got it fixed. I'm going to test it tomorrow. I'm gonna get up in the morning and I'm gonna just get on. I'm gonna pull up 7 Days to Die, Grand Theft Auto, and oh shoot, what's the space game that I play? I'm forgetting the name. No Man's Sky. There's some of the more visually stressing games that I have. I want to push because I want to make sure. I think it's a RAM issue, and I'm pushing to make sure what I've got fixed is going to work for you. So we're going to give that a shot. But tomorrow night, I'll be back at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because that's where I live, for episode 36 of Merged Worlds, which will be a big culmination of what we've been working on here for a while and the quest to save Michael. So hopefully those of you who are into Merge Worlds will show up. If you don't know what I'm talking about with Merge Worlds, it's a Dungeons & Dragons story campaign I've been running for over 30 years. And every week for 3 weeks, I get on Sunday nights and I tell part of that story. It's also available as an audio podcast on iTunes and Spotify for free, if you'd like to look up there. If you're not interested, but you still have iTunes or Spotify, I'd love it if you wouldn't mind swinging by and subscribing or following or whatever it is. If you're not going to listen, it definitely helps out a lot, just like subscribing to a channel. I would never ask you to leave a review. If you've not heard it, then by means, don't leave a review for something you don't know if you like it or not. But if you get a follow or subscribe, I'd highly appreciate it. But that'll be tomorrow night. And then let's see. And then Monday, we'll be back again for, if everything goes well, some more Minecraft Rustic Waters at 6 p.m. Eastern on Monday. I'm still working on the second server. Again, that was something I was going to work on today, but the PC issues kind of derailed me. So I was hoping to get that up this weekend. Now I've got to worry about this because if I can't have this thing working by Monday morning, I'm going to have to take it into Knoxville and find a repair shop. So I'm hoping to get it fixed so I don't have to do that. Let's see. We got get it to 1 durability and then put 5 reinforce on it and get extra damage infinite. Okay, nice. Bragg, I'm glad you're happy to hear it. Yes, it was a very good time on stream. I enjoyed hanging out with you guys. Would you rather be Draven in Merge Worlds or here right now? Draven. Merge Worlds. In a heartbeat. Yeah, that's all. I can send you a message on Discord. All right, cool. 75 members. That's correct. Now, hopefully, our new emoji, we've unlocked one at 75 again. There's Shadow's working on those now. She said she'd hopefully have them in the next couple of days. So if we can stay at 75, I can then add that emoji. If we happen to lose one, that's fine. I'll have the emoji, and as soon as we get back up to 75, I can add it. Once it's added, if we drop under 75, we don't lose it. I just can't add it on there until it's at 75. So there's that. Let's see. What else? That. Are you going to submit the new? I'm waiting. Shadow's finishing it up this weekend, she said. That and the new design for merch. So I'm hoping to have it by the end of the weekend. But I told her if, things come up, she has a kid that's a little sick this week as well. I said, if it takes a little bit longer, that's fine. There's no rush. But when we do have it, I'll definitely get it in there. Well, you don't have any of us. What makes you think I'm not taking you with me, Bragg? Just because I'm going doesn't mean I have to go alone. All right, everybody, I'm going to call that a day. Thank you for coming by and hanging out with me today. It has been a pleasure. If you've had a good time, please be sure to click that like button. If you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe and come join us in our Discord channel. You'll find a button that takes you right to it at the top of my website, onlydraven.com. You'll also find information about Merged Worlds that I was talking about earlier. Love you to hear about that. You'll also find links to all of my social media accounts. Love it if you'd follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I've got Facebook and Snapchat, all that stuff's listed on the website as well. We also have the membership program. We got a brand new member today, and thank you very much. If you're interested in the membership program, we would love to have you. You get a whole bunch of cool stuff for a pretty low price of $2.99 a month. Just click the join button anywhere on my channel, and you'll get all the information about that if it's something you're interested in. But again, I am going to call that a day. Special thank you, as always, to my members. You folks and your continued support of the channel is definitely helped getting this to a point where we can look to do this full time. Finally built to the point that I'm trying to go part-time. But your continued support is overwhelmingly appreciated, as well as to all of you who have been donating. Those donations, again, I do my very best to try to put back into the channel one way or another. And your support as well, definitely helping this channel growing leaps and bounds and getting it to the point where I could be on here 6 and 7 days a week, 6 and 8 hours a day, annoying the hell of you. And an extra special thank you, as always, to my moderators. Those are the folks you see with the blue font, or if you're on the Discord channel, have the green font, because there's one thing I don't know how to do, is be consistent. But those folks do a lot of hard work helping keeping everybody up and running and maintaining a clean and orderly place for us to hang out. So if you get a chance, shoot a special thank you and a hello to them. They do a lot of hard work and help make this a great community that we get to hang. But you folks have yourselves a wonderful evening, and hopefully we will see you tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Eastern for a little bit of Dungeons and Dragons Merged Worlds story stream. Alrighty? You folks have yourself a wonderful evening. Thank you for giving me such a great first AMA story stream. I'm excited at the prospect of doing more of them. Alrighty? You guys have yourselves a wonderful day.